Uh, what, if anything, does anyone remember from last time?
Can you
That
guys?
was what I
No.
remember. We
Yeah.
can.
I heard that. You were really quiet. I was wondering about that.
So last time we we wrapped up that godforsaken fight on the boat. The unwisely summoned demons did exactly what their summoner intended and attacked Purser. And then the ship crashed into Mishann, which was really bad. A lot of people died. Purser almost died. I think Ludger almost died.
No,
It,
it's fine.
it was a very near thing in almost every regard, and we cleaned up. The elementals broke free, but of course they did. And we, I think, captured a bunch of Nooksravo warriors.
Yeah, you've got quite a bounty of captured, uh, you know, ranking people in the clan structure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But we talked for a bit about what to do. We investigated the estate of. I've forgotten her name now because she's no longer relevant in my recollection. But the
She was calling herself, or Saavedra was the last name, or Saavedra.
yes, that was it. Thank you. We checked out her house and found her insane diary entries because we were driving her to madness, sending horses and things to stalk her and keep her from enacting whatever plot. She had a novel snippet of the Draconic Prophecy, which deeply concerns me as a player, but I assume Purser has no real way to discern what's going on there. He's not a scholar of prophecy. But out of character, no Kings of Seer, ever, anywhere.
Yeah, that should be easy. Yours is a very representative government.
Yeah.
So, why did Seer become like a republic? What was it like the king was being a tyrant, or was there like a revolution, or nah? We just read the ramblings of an insane crazy dragon lady, and we decided that we didn't want to fuck around and find out. We're like 90% sure she couldn't do it, but we wanted to make sure.
Well, okay, but the funny thing is, in the other campaign with Poniard, her vow actually, or the prophecy that she got also kind of dealt with someone being crowned and bad things happening. So maybe this person isn't as crazy as we think they are.
Oh, by the way, this isn't something Mercy would know, but the town does have a familiar face for the player, Joan, at least. The that smoky fella who was the prophet, or well, not prophet, but um the fortune teller. He
Hmm.
apparently has decided that Mishann is the place to be. He moved in.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, nice to have a.
Didn't he give us a prophecy as well? I don't recall.
He's given you a couple. The first one you ignored, um, and then the dragon showed up, so it was kind of a end
Womp
result
womp.
thing. But yeah, he's in true prophecy fashion. His things rarely make any sense up front.
I mean, it doesn't matter if he's right or not. It's still the ramblings of an insane homeless man. So,
Yeah, he's not homeless. He's got a tent, but yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. That being said, I do consider a chamber agent, I think, or at least chamber adjacent dragon to be more authoritative on the prophecy.
That is fair. That is fair.
And
um,
that line is deeply concerning because it I can only assume that it's referring to the release of Toloreshka. But we'll see.
Also, Purser's current enmity towards Baylock just has me like imagining like Purser angrily like standing outside of his pipe. you better you better come out right now, because if I have to go in there, I'm bringing an ass beating with me.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it is another player, so I can't be like too aggro about it. But Purser is very much not happy.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm as forgiving as I am is because it went for Purser when it broke control. If it had hurt anyone else, Baylock might have died.
I mean, they hurt some people. Like, there was bad people.
Well, they hurt enemies, which that's the deal they made when they chose to fight us. But if they had hurt an innocent or like another member of our party, no, Baylock would have died.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a fair reaction for given Purser's inclinations. Uh, and yeah, you guys did that. Anything else you remember, or what have you, or is that about it for the Purser fair and balanced radio show?
Ah,
I made a sandwich.
Yeah.
That's true.
Sandwich was made, sandwich was eaten.
We also went on the road and like went to go to I guess like discount like the discount Vatican to like do a big conclave thing about the future of Mishann, where we can hopefully you know win, secure our victories on the battlefield with a good treaty that you know engineers a just peace while also not ideally sowing the seeds for the next war.
Well, just make
mhm.
Nuxavaro pay reparations for everything that might have happened, and it
No
should
Carthaginian treaties.
this should make a really good
See,
long-term peace.
what we need to do is find one of the clans that was against us, but wasn't even like the ones that started shit, and blame them for everything. And settle all the war debt on them. And yeah, I'm sure that won't cause take their national politics to funny places.
Yeah. Plus, we're representing Sirens, and the only reason Seer isn't saddled with reparations and all that is because when the
It
war
doesn't
ended, they
exist.
literally had nothing to give.
Yeah. I mean, that you could argue the whole like making them stateless refugees was something, but yeah, that was a low blow. But yeah, that's absolutely what happened. You guys got together with uh, basically representatives as well as your war prisoners, loaded up onto your big fun ship in Mishann, sailed up the river until you got to Gwenedcull, where you met the always cheerful head of the Gwynedd clan, as well as his two lesser clans, Pikier and Biapo. Biapo was under some new leadership, and you guys had about a day's walk on the pretty good roads to the capital of Alamcusp, this city-state. And we let off just as you guys were walking up to the gates, basically. So,
Hmm.
but
Balthazar is kind of getting that look of Gomer Pyle from Full Metal Jacket on his face. Like,
That's a bit rude. He has a positive intelligence score.
oh no, he does, but the whole "I'm going to kill so many people" expression
Oh,
on
that
his
yeah, he
face.
clearly has that.
Yeah.
will lead to some fun places too. We'll talk about that another time.
I'm
But
just saying. I'm just
Mhm.
saying. If you can like put me in like in a soundproof room in an anti-magic field with all the drow leaders, I'll make sure we can have peace in our times.
yeah, like I said, I that'll definitely lead to some fun places in Eberron, especially on Zendrik. But
Mm.
yeah, you guys, it's it, if I remember correctly, yeah, it's a pretty late at night. I don't know why I have it as being like almost midnight, but it's much later than that. Um, the as you're walking up, the city is built vertically, and like I said last week, you could see it a ways away walking up to the city, just because it's like the lights make it stand out quite nicely. Um, but it towers upwards with different layers supporting different things. As you climb a huge ramp to the giant-sized city gates, you notice that every layer has a new series of walls and checkpoints. This is a city built to defend. Um, the gates themselves they're open, and they're made of white stone that has a strange rainbow shimmer like an oil slick in the light. Um, the smooth walls have a beautiful inlaid pattern of red and gold flames covering nearly every surface. Uh, your group is held at the gate by some ominous and rather heavily armored and armed drow in masks. For once, Lady Wayrub doesn't explain who this lot is, um, looking a bit nervous and pretty close to be giving the usual running commentary. But, at least internally, um, your your half-elvish nobleman gets a bit of a rundown. The former head of Biapo seems unusually talkative today. Perhaps it's related to his shock at who replaced him. Rajan, or Lord Tons of Fun, as the group has taken to calling him, uh, says well, I feel like there's always a faint echo given that he's a disembodied voice, but um,
Mm.
there's you hear, or at least one of you hears, and can relay this if need be. Those are Asheville paladins, a holy order and the most dangerous army on the entire island chain. They're all fanatics and pretty lethal. Luckily, that kept their numbers smaller than any of the major clans. But, being immune to the plague, they ended up with the biggest remaining force. To be honest,
Mm.
if the Kuopalm was even close to competent, he'd have used them to put an end to all the infighting and taken even more power for himself. I mean, that's what I would have done. Instead, he keeps guarding the capital like tradition dictates. Say what you will about evil bastards like me, but we do less damage in the long term than idiots. And I don't know how much of that, if any, Balthazar relays as you guys walk up to these spoopy looking drow in masks. Put an image up. NPCs, drow.
I think I'll show my counterparts on the other side of the pond professional courtesy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I like to think that Biapo's enmity towards them as a result of something like this happening at least once.
Woo!
I thought this was a Solitar.
I mean, yeah, there is definitely some puritanical nonsense that he probably couldn't get away with half of his like typical daily itinerary in the capital thanks to people like them, but you know. But yeah, you guys get up, and it does take about 15 minutes, just for them. They do it's not overly invasive, but they do check everybody to make sure none of you are like I don't know what would count as something prohibitively. You know what? It's not even they're checking for prohibitively
Damn
dangerous.
it, they stole my crack.
Th- No, they don't care about drugs. They're actually checking and occasionally using divine senses for anything that has a fiendish taint on it. Um,
I
like
could see them also checking for like obvious like elemental bound devices because
yeah,
that's what they're familiar with.
they want to be aware of that, but that's one of those they don't have the authority to grab it if it's not
Right.
like a this thing has a elder elemental, why are you bringing it in type thing.
Yeah.
Um, outside
No
of that,
reason.
that's bound elementals are relatively common. So that's they
It's my service elemental. I need him
yeah,
for stress. Just let
exactly.
It's
the
this
so,
it's this movie.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
he calms me down. Now let him in your keep.
yeah. But it you guys actually are eventually let through. Um, uh, when one of the Ashvale comes and speaks with Lady Wayrub and Lord Gwynedd, the drow removes his mask as you guys pass and watches all of you with eyes that glow red with an inner heat that you can almost feel. Uh, Lord Olenquai lets out a tired sigh as you guys finally enter the city proper. And once you're out of immediate earshot, says, "Phew, that's that one's Werrell Dennett, the leader of the Paladins, and I guess they made him general. He's well, I'm glad the man's never had any political aspirations. He's a lot more liked than Tumong, and everyone was calling for him to take the big seat after so much of the priesthood went mad. But he turned it down, and instead, well, we got the current cool palm. Actually, he could have done worse, I suppose. And as a translation for Joan, I will add in it's basically who got to be Pope. So
Okay,
the
yeah.
yep. The current guy who's Pope, kind of there wasn't a lot of other priesthood left. It was an outbreak of madness. Odd that. And it was either that guy or the head of the Paladins, and apparently the head of the Paladins turned down the offer.
Respect
Uh,
that.
sorry?
I can respect that.
Yeah,
Saying no to power is good.
yeah. And he's a Paladin, so he's probably a lot of something. Um, but now that you're inside the city, you can see that the walls and the scale is, unsurprisingly, suitable for giants. The vast majority of the buildings are at least 60 feet tall, with many rising as high as about 100 feet. Their size has been taken advantage of by the Sulatar, who simply added floors and walls inside to turn the standard giant's 20-foot floor into two 10-foot floors. Nothing you haven't seen before, but um, that it's this seamless is a change um, compared to the southern tribes that when they do it. Zoom out here. And
Now, DM.
yes,
I'm
so I can
just
put you
taking
guys
a
in
look
jeopardy.
at just taking a quick look at the city. The Tower of Wrath. What happens in there?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm sure we'll find out eventually. Let's make you a little bigger there so I can click on it. Okay. Um, but yeah, uh, the first district you go through is a dizzying array of colorful storefronts, market stalls, and the occasional tent. They don't seem to be lived in, that's easier than running a full store or stand, and probably a lot less upkeep than one of these giant sized buildings. A sign with golden lettering declares as you first go through that this area is the Long Market. And given the entire district seems dedicated to trade and those who practice it, pretty on the nose name. Most things for sale are clearly of Sulatar make, although you do see surprisingly a fair bit of uh, Volcoridal crafts, showing that even with the borderline hostile relationship the two peoples have, trade either, well, did continue, probably a lot less now, but you spot some things that of the Luatesha lizard folk and a couple other stalls, and probably to, I would imagine, pick shock. And you guys visited it, so you've seen what her people's crafts look like. There's one small stall selling uh, Dracolic Thrycreen death-themed artwork, mostly masks and such, but and the fact that it's not made from exoskeletons like the traditional ones would be means that it's more inspired by. But it does seem pretty authentic in that at least someone, you know, who knew what they were doing trained the maker, or they're just making it out of local materials. Given that they cremate everyone, it would probably be a bit of a taboo to make them out of actual bones like the actual little death head people prefer to do. Um, but a few of the storefronts seem to be specializing in selling gifts of the ancients, which is to say artifacts from the giant cultures that once called the islands home. Um, you notice that instead of the private guards that are stationed in front of many of the storefronts, each one of these gifts of the ancient places has a dedicated Asheville paladin and a um, plaque proclaiming that the store has been authorized to do business by the temple. So the artifacts are not mechanically artifacts, but artifacts as an age. Those are somewhat controlled substances. Although, if it's controlled in the same sense that guns are in Texas or that guns are in New York is up for debate. Um, but yeah, that's the Long Market, which to get through, you once again another gate. The second layer of the city, as you guys are just kind of heading through here, I won't say you're being escorted by forcibly, but there's definitely some paladins who stuck with you. Um, but the second layer of the city is narrow and seems uh, long as it gradually takes you higher and higher. The district is almost colorless, with most of the buildings pure egg white. Um, most of them are homes with simple decorations, um, and the people are wearing they're very clean and well kept, but fairly unassuming robes. You get a lot of curious looks and some pointed fingers from children before a quick swat and its admonishment from the parents about doing something so crass as pointing in public. You'd guess that this is a poor district, or at most middle class, although the streets here seem just as clean as the Long Market, and there aren't any obvious signs of crime. As you guys, oh great, thanks. As you guys head through here, basically. Finally, well, some of you, with legs aching from all the uphill walking, uh, you pass through another two gates and arrive in a beautifully decorated area with every giant-sized building almost a flame-inspired work of art on its own. Um, your entire procession is led to a compound, which is basically three mansions built in a square shape to provide kind of a shared courtyard. And the Wayrobe colors hung over the door, um, just like just slightly elevated above and next to Clan Olenqui's colors, which I will put you guys through. All the way. Oh, here's the gate. Came through, and then I have to make this bigger because I keep fucking stretching it. There we go. You guys got Yeah, it's quite a journey. You got up to, if I remember correctly, here was, I think. The Asheville Paladin escorting you says that these should be suitable to host any Mishann Alliance figures who aren't part of major clans officially. They kind of give the party a look at that because you guys are hard to pin down in a society this codified. Um, Lady Wayrub narrows her eyes and points at the colors over the door and says, "The same as always, then? If that's the case, where are Clan Apome's colors? They should be next to Olenquai's." Paladin nods and just says, "Far as I know, Apame, has their own compound, given their elevation to the status of a greater clan." Um, Lady Wayrub does not look thrilled about that, but doesn't manage to keep herself from like snarling. Um, the Paladin, for their part, waits politely for any questions from her or anybody else in the group before um, leading Lord Gwynedd and his lesser clans to their respective compound. For his part, the eccentric drow seems in a pretty good mood and is before they're even out of sight or out of earshot, you guys hear him pestering the paladin with questions about prices on alchemical reagents in the capital. So it's you, the Clan Wayrub leadership and warriors, as well as Clan Olenquai and their warriors in this compound. Uh, Going into it, you see that just like it looked from the outside, it's several huge buildings surrounding a courtyard filled with a lush, manicured garden. At their lady's command, some of the clan warriors show you to where you'll be staying. It's what was once the Apami clan space in the capital. They say you should have plenty of uh, plenty of room, and going inside, they're not exaggerating. You guys have an entire six-story building to yourselves with countless rooms to choose from. Remember, this would hold like an entire clan's basically. This Each one of these compounds is like a the headquarters of a clan when they were visiting the capital. The bathrooms all have running water, and the entire place could be confused with a fine, if somewhat exotic, hotel on Corvair, um, if not for the lack of things like cleansing stones and the strange crystalline lighting. Um, but yeah, do you guys? I'm assuming you're okay staying in basically a six-story hotel by yourselves, but I should ask.
If
Don't see why
anything,
not.
like if anything, Luger's a little off put because like they're I remember there was a fairly set limit on the amount of people, like, bodyguards and shit we could bring, which I do remember Luger did, want to bring some of his guys just to be like,
Okay.
both for basically to hold, to be bannermen and like give some level of presence. That we're not just that couple of randos, but we actually have a representative force. But
That's a good
uh,
point. Any forces you brought with you could be housed here pretty reasonably, I think.
yeah,
As long as you
if
didn't
any,
bring over like 100, you're good.
I remember you said it was each clan was only supposed to bring like a set number, like 15 or something. Like,
Yeah, and they didn't really adhere to that too much. Like Lady Wayrub said, we're only supposed to bring this much. We're like, but we're bringing at least 25 each, just because. But yeah, either way, you didn't bring your total force because honestly, bringing 25 each was pushing it, given the losses you guys just took. But um, yeah, you easily have enough to house the people you brought with you. One thing I do want to ask, because you did bring your prisoners of war, what did you do with the Nuxavaro clan warriors that you had?
I would have talked to Olenquai or Wayrob about how like ransoming is supposed to be done. Like not in
Okay.
a we want money, but as in like a we have a bunch of prisoners that like we want to kind of leverage for like the peace treaty, whether
Yeah.
that's releasing them before or after,
We're not
like whenever.
savages. We didn't kill them all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Well, just
Yeah.
bring the fact that you brought them is a good sign in that. Like they're if you'd have brought a bunch of heads, they'd have been a little leery. But the fact that you brought them, I will say both the Asheville Paladins and the church by and large dislike getting directly involved. So they would have quietly basically advised you, you know, keep them in the in the compound with you. They're, they're not going to just run, presumably. Uh, and formally, they'll basically be, you can hand them back in one way or another
yeah,
when when the actual representative from Nuxavaro arrives.
yeah,
Um,
uh,
because they're having a
yeah,
bit of an issue right now with finding a clan head. So,
yeah. It's definitely one of those things that Ludger isn't gonna be like we want like the sun and the moon. He just wants to basically use it as like additional like
no,
leverage.
every little
You
Like,
bit of
know,
political leverage is a good idea.
hmm
Yeah, no, as in that case, you could easily stuff them into like the lower half of the hotel that you were basically handed over to,
yeah.
and just tell the rest of your forces, hey, they're probably not gonna try and run, but at least let us know if they do, that type of thing.
I'll
Ludger
leave.
would
Oh, go
Ludger
ahead.
would advocate that they be kept on the highest floor to make it harder for them, you know, to get away. Like I'm
Okay,
not sure if that's where all the super nice bedrooms are. If so, we can do like a floor down, but definitely something so they're not on the ground floor, and they would have to theoretically go through like several like stories to get to escape. And I'm presuming that's where the nicer quarters are, anyways. So like, wouldn't it be like we're shoving them into a basement? Like, both for security and for like treating them well. Ludger would advocate like a higher story, just to like,
okay. Yeah, that's definitely doable. They so far they have been pretty docile in loss because I mean, you guys have been treating them very well, not unreasonably so because like it is follow you have been following basically their code as much as can reasonably be done. So as it's one of those, it's a, men of honor type thing, men and women of honor. They they're not gonna do anything really shameful as long as you guys don't like, I don't know, start abusing them in public or something. But yeah,
Yeah,
um,
if
I
if
will leave Pearl to keep an eye on them.
okay,
well, we
okay.
also have guards.
Y-
The
y-
guards we brought. So,
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Pearl needs to keep an eye on the guards as well. Make sure no funny business happens.
exactly.
I mean, Vervudger's man, he's been the one specifically having them be the guys watch him because he trusts them to be disciplined and not do stupid shit. So,
So the
But look
prisoners
at
uh,
can watch
this.
Pearl watching them, watching their
yeah.
prisoners.
Yeah, but look at it from Persia's perspective. He's been very forgiving about working with abominations.
Hey, he only knows Ludger is an abomination. He didn't know
Yeah,
the others were yet.
he's definitely dumb enough to not have realized like these guys.
Man,
No, they're
those Karns stay up really late for some reason.
yeah. No, well, knowing they're Karns is enough not to trust them.
Yeah, exactly. That's fair.
Um, Ludger at some point, especially once we kind of get settled in and that sort of thing, Ludger would take the time to address the various prisoners, where he would inform them that uh, you know, they should be, ideally they should be getting returned to their clan within a few days. Once the conclave is over, and that, definitely kind of not rubbing it in, but basically kind of telling them like, you know, we want to secure, you know, basically telling them like diplomatically that we're going to ransom you, but we're not going to ask for anything outrageous for that ransom. Like very much a like, you're almost home, uh, you know,
Yeah, that's the part most of them
that sort
pay
of thing.
attention to. Like they're glad that you're like, hey, we're not gonna really be unreasonable, but mostly they're at the stage of just like, when can we get home type thing. But yeah, so you guys are set up. The top floor is absolutely the nicest floor, and that's the one that's split into like some really ornate rooms. But yeah, you keep them in the like the fifth floor and whatnot. But is there anything else anybody wants to do as you guys settle in to your hotel for the next week or so, or however long this will take?
Da,
Uh,
da, 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 fucking map. Okay. Bu-
I mean, twiddle my thumbs, maybe build a pillow fort if we're in the
Yeah,
nicest place.
pillow fort. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Your authority's not recognized in Fort Kickass.
No girls
Sam, did
allowed.
we?
Cross the
Are there
boundary.
slaves here?
There are not slaves in this building,
In
because
Alum Cusp.
oh God, yes, yeah.
Okay.
They're not as common as they are in like the quote unquote working settlements. But yeah, it's there's enough ranking people here. They're especially they're relatively common. Think like a car in like the Model T era. Like it's an investment, but anybody who can afford a labor saving device is going to go for it.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, God, getting over a freaking illness. Been sick as a dog for the past while. Okay.
Hmm.
Friends, while we were walking through the city, I noticed that there were people with numbers branded on their foreheads. Who were they?
Yeah,
Slaves.
yeah, prisoners with jobs, most likely.
Prisoners for jobs.
Ah, her eyes flick, and you realize that like her powering them off and on real quick is her equivalent of blinking. Um, Possibly to make organics feel more comfortable with her. Um, so she like blinks a couple of times and oh, I remember reading the etiquette guide. So we are to refer to them as it or they.
Purser's just like open mouth agape for a second.
Mercy.
Uh,
Mercy. Execute johnbrown.exe.
No,
Damn it.
no.
No, no, no.
We are, we are not going to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Mercy, where did you even hear something like that?
There is a
I
guide that I was handed upon arrival. It is about the Volcuridol and Solitar etiquette.
Some fucking guy out there handing out pamphlets for free. Welcome to the
so
city.
so in game, my internal logic for that is that mostly through her studies, it's not quite as like factually accurate as
I
the
can tell.
but no, the that is courtesy of your guys' good friend, where is her? The archaeologist. She put together a primer so that the people coming in from Corvair wouldn't like casually try and casually start a race war without meeting it. Um, so where is it here? What's her name? There we go. Roslyn Erostrin. Um, She made it a point to have little pamphlets of like, here's basic etiquette, here's how to tell one group of drow from another. And a lot of the information is surprisingly accurate because she just started asking. Like the first draft of these was bad, but then she realized she could just ask them, and they got a lot better. Um, so yeah, that's
Sh-
like it. That's actually somewhat accurate. Yeah.
She means well, but we are better than these people. They are enslavers. You don't have to respect evil. No, just treat them like people. Help them when you can, but don't offend our hosts too badly.
Well, that is my point. If we do things to offend our hosts, then does that not make us bad guests?
It makes us look weak in the face of our position of being emancipationists.
Oh, follow on query. If we threaten to brand our prisoners if they try to escape, would that be effective or no?
No, we're not branding anyone, Mercy.
I mean, but
No,
it will be
threaten.
effective.
No, we're not doing that,
I
okay?
know I'm not. I'm just saying it would be effective.
It would be effective in
Yeah, I
completely
mean,
undoing the keeping them alive element of goodwill.
Yeah, Ludger once again would not allow that sort of shit. He will tard wrangle this party to avoid us pissing away our diplomatic victory due to like chaotic good barbarian ideas.
he ran away. He won't do it again. I bet.
So,
Well,
so I sawed off his legs. Okay.
He won't run no
Anyway,
more.
well, all this is going on. Where's the? Are we close to a market square? Do I have to travel halfway across town?
There's shortcuts, but the long market is the best way for market square shenanigans. There's
So
little local bodega type places, but yeah.
here's my idea though. We get like our wagon, like
Uh-huh.
or something. Because you said this entire city is kind of like built on like a series of ramps. We'd have to walk all the way back up at the end, but we could probably just like zoom down in a wagon.
Y-
they probably have laws against that, Ludger.
But you know what? I like the idea. I would say that's something that like local kids do, like in the daylight hours, the equivalent of late at night. But by and large, it's not something like you're supposed to do much of. Like if you guys are the equivalent of drow teenagers, like they'll catch you and like drag you home and be like, you know what we found little Johnny doing, that type of thing.
It's been doing
Um,
this every night for the last 50 years. It has
and
to stop now.
yeah, it's all right.
So
Yeah.
be good, or I'll ground you for 6 months.
You've been standing in my head. Don't make it 10. Fine.
But yes,
Yeah,
let's
it's
do
only a
some
slap on the wrist,
shopping.
man. You got to be harder.
Reserve. What were you saying, Purser?
Let's do some shopping. Yes. Let's
Okay. Um,
let's see what they have to offer. Ah! Hi, Freya.
okay. I thought.
Are you okay?
Yes. Freya is
Hank,
hungry. One
Hank
moment.
Hill. You were like one octave off of doing the Hank Hill like panic noise.
Honestly, I was just looking for the Hank Hill. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
I
man.
thought that was some really good improv that like Purser walks outside and sees.
Yeah, I forgot to feed
butter
her when I got home from work,
free.
Yeah.
and she was filled with rage.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. But yeah, if you guys want to head shopping, it's still like it's the equivalent of getting it's like one or two. So yeah, you're past the midway point of the quote unquote day, but yeah, most places are definitely still open. You could easily head all the way down and peruse the various places in the long market. Um, this things are a little pricier here. It's the capital, but it is a point of pride that they have access to pretty much everything you could find in the city-state's territory. So all of the inventory you could get in the, say, Irnixkull or something. Spell scrolls and stuff. They have that here. Maybe not quite the sheer volume, but they have something from every clan hold here for sale. So it's really just a matter of what you're looking for.
Hmm. I'd imagine they have alchemical supplies here. I need to resupply.
They do, yeah. I mean, it's you actually heard a list of a couple places when um when High Lord Gwynedd was pestering that Asheville paladin. He was eager to. You might even run into him. You could do shopping buddy stuff.
Hmm, probably not. But
Uh,
we'll keep it to professional correspondence.
yeah, I mean he's a friendly guy, but
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, pretty much. I would say obviously not legendary items, but pretty much anything under that you can find here. Affording it's another thing, but it's here.
Healing potions.
Healing potions, they got them. All various
Awesome.
flavors in stock.
You know, I'm tired of I'm tired of having to count all of my arrows.
That's fair.
Hmm. Could I get a better quiver
You
for
could,
money?
but that's now just to say, do you want a better quiver, mundane one, or do you want the quiver of holding thing? It's not actually what it's called, but let me look
But
it up.
yes, yes.
Let's see.
I know there's something called an efficient quiver or quiver of efficiency. You can hold like 80 arrows and three
Yeah, yeah.
spears and
Yep, efficient quiver. Three compartments connect to extra-dimensional space, holds numerous items while never weighing more than 2 pounds. Shortest compartment can hold up to 60 arrows, bolts, or similar objects. Mid-size can hold up to 18 javelins or smaller or similar objects. And the longest compartment holds up to 6 long objects such as bows, quarterstaffs, and spears. So yeah,
ooh.
we could definitely find that. It's uncommon, which puts the price range in what I like to call affordable. Let's see, for something like that, that's relatively mundane, I would say, uh, add on a little slight markup because of capital costs. You're gonna start at about 175 gold.
Okay, okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot to haggle. It could be terrible. No, you're paying the price, but it's worth a shot.
They're probably
So
not gonna up the price, to be honest. They're just happy to find people buying it.
right. So persuasion, I would assume.
Yeah, or something else if you can think of a reason to justify it. But yeah, persuasion would be default.
Um, would you allow survival? As in, Bemmy would look over the piece, and be like, I don't know, this don't look waterproof. I'm gonna need it to be waterproof.
Okay,
Or
so you're gonna let you know what? I would say yes to survival if you can pass investigation to find a sufficiently outdoorsy like shop that's because it's standard magic item shop, they're just gonna be like, "Yeah, I don't it's magic, it works."
yeah,
But if you
yeah.
go for like the equivalent of you know, hunting and fishing place that specializes in that type of gear, the clerk there will be more inclined to be like, no, no, I use this myself, that type of thing.
Okay.
Um, so
All right. Investigation. Forced. All right.
to find a proper specialized store because they do
Flat
have
roll,
them here.
baby. Give me something good.
Look,
Oh,
look at that, look at that. You find a place. Um,
Beautiful.
yeah, you know what? One sec here.
This bag's only supposed to have 3 holes. Why is there 4? Tell me.
Let's see. Yeah, you find a place called DeBella's, and
Very nice. Very nice.
Well done.
and it's the fella behind the counter is an older drow, heavily scarred face, looks like something like ravaged it. There's huge claw marks down the side of it, and he's very, we'll say, eccentric. He's playing around with a very heavy duty crossbow and immediately like starts levering it towards the door when you come in. He says, "Who's are you?" "Oh, all right. I thought you were one of my sons. They're coming to kill me. Well, what can I get for you?"
Well, I'm looking to get me a better quiver. Maybe something that holds a little bit more than normal.
Ah,
Something that's
yeah.
efficient.
No, I got you here. These, this is, I use them myself. One minute. And he goes out back and comes in with the efficient quiver, as well as several like lightly sparking javelins. You're gonna want these to go with it. Trust me. Trust me. Uh, you pop them in the water, and it saves you all kinds of time when you're deep in the jungles. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it down there. There, every little bit matters. You go fishing, and it's another good one. Only way I was able to find some of the tribals. They were stalking me for days.
Oh, I'm well aware. Now this here quiver that's gonna be just fine in the jungle.
Same version I use myself. I assure you.
So you say it's reliable, would you? Okay. Well, Bemmy's just gonna give a look over on the quiver, see if he can't haggle him down some. A 17.
Yeah, you know what? We'll drop it down to you know what? You know what? You got a bit of a tribal look to you yourself, but I can tell you're a hunter. You got the smell. Yeah. Uh,
A, conser-
a
a
hundred, a
conservationist.
While
hundred.
he's saying this, he's sniffing his pets. Like, I mean, I guess I do.
No, it's in this. It's in this. And he like almost lunges across the counter and like grabs at your memory charm. This has got it. There's a hunter spirit in here and in you. Yeah, it's you know what? We'll drop it. We'll drop it. 150 gold at cost. But you gotta use it.
Okay.
You gotta use it.
I mean, I plan to once I buy it. Uh,
No,
uh,
you gotta use it. I'll really taste the blood.
okay. I will taste the blood. It will be
Right.
a good hunt. Here is the money, sir. Thank you kindly for your patronage.
And you're
Have a
gonna
good.
want these too. And he's like he has a handful of let me look up the name here. What are they? The lightning javelins.
Like honestly, he's like, yeah, take these lightning javelins, just put it in the water. Easiest fishing trip I ever had.
Javelin of lightning. There it is. Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
he's trying to sell you on those. Lightning javelins. Let's see. I would say each lightning javelin. You, you know what? If you get all six, we'll do half cost. 300 for all six of them.
300 for all 6. Well, that'd be
It turns
breaking
to
the bank.
lightning in your hands, boy.
I believe it. I believes it. So let's see. 150 for
450, boy. That would be the total.
well, I ain't got to scratch to give you 450.
You
I only
got any
got 4.
trophies?
I got, n-
If it's
mm,
got the spirit still in it, I'll take a good enough trophy. Knock some of the price off.
I don't got no trophies for you. I'm sorry. I only got 420 gold pieces. I can't do no 450.
Would you like 30?
Where the hell did you come from?
Who's this? They sent us.
No, it's not at all what you think. This is my associate who makes delicious sandwiches.
Black Fiber, what are you? Some kind of metal. Some
yeah,
kind of metal and wood monster.
It's working with the Black Lion.
Oh God. Yeah, she holds up her hands in the hands out, palms up for the formal greeting. Hello, I am Mercy Seven, and I am here to help my friend.
There's like a moment's awkward silence as he's still like he points the crossbow back and forth several times between you guys and eventually puts it down again. I heard someone try and say something.
No, I'll wait until after this. It'll be funnier.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, welcome to Debellus.
You have a very nice shop.
Yeah, right, I do. It's been mine for generations. Well, my family's.
I mean, I ain't seen no finer shop. It's the whole big reason why I came in here. This here's a certified outdoorsman, Mercy.
He nods vigorously.
He knows exactly the kind of gear you gonna need. And you know what? I think he's gonna help us out just fine. Just fine. Well, if you are serious about giving me them 30 gold, then I think we might just have ourselves a deal.
Yes, of course. And then afterwards, perhaps we can go find a street vendor for more sandwiches.
That's a beautiful idea. Where have you been all my life?
Trust
Corvair.
what they sell on the streets. Don't trust it. It ain't got what you need like the bush meats. And
Yeah, Mercy just like turns her head in like just very robotic fashion and does the whole like eye blink blink thing. Do you have sandwich makings?
don't make it into a sandwich. You don't need no breads, just the meats. But yes, I'll take. I need the coin. They've been after me for taxes.
That hoit. Taxation theft, Mima always said. I don't know what it meant, but that's what she always said.
Who in their right mind would even try to tax her?
She just said it's I can feel things.
The
She
IRS.
acts on the thing. Yep, that's
The
correct.
only thing Mima fears. The
No,
IRS.
I don't think so.
What's inside this mirror, Mima? We don't talk about that mirror. It's Earth. No, it's an acronym, Bemmy. Okay.
It's
Okay.
ATF.
If you're so angry, why do you get in the mirror?
So it doesn't hurt anybody else. It's the only decent thing I've done in my life, son.
And down the road is where I put the ATF agents.
Mima's done plenty of nice things. She's done nothing but help the party. You guys are just slanderous. But yeah, he with his gold, he hushes you out and closes the shop for the day. Seems like he's made his sale. That that's not that much given what he's selling. So who the fuck knows? But yeah, you're now 1 efficient quiver and 6 javelins of lightning richer.
All right.
That was a very colorful character.
Yep. Yeah, it was. Now let's go look for them sandwiches. Glad we didn't get shot.
As we meet back up after you have this little escapade,
I was
Purser
gonna
will.
buy something.
Well, Purser is gonna hand out the dividends from selling all the precious gems that we have. They're just burning a hole in the party inventory.
This is a good place to sell it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Purser will hand each of you a sack of 960 GP.
Oh.
We had a bunch of very big pearls.
Welcome to the party, new character. Here's 1,000 gold. Now fuck off.
I mean,
yeah, she's
just
just
to
holding this
clarify,
big sack and just like another blink, blink. Are you sure that you can give me this gold? Have I earned my stay?
Oh
I
yeah,
know
of
that I
course.
have
Hold
paid
on.
this.
Here's 30 back.
Just to clarify, that's each, right?
Each.
Yep, yep,
Okay.
It was 6 pearls worth 800 gold.
Yep.
Jeez.
yeah. Like
Hmm.
that chieftain was serious about like making up for having his like kind of spiritual leader try and kill you guys. So that,
Man, that's okay. That's compensation for all right.
Friend Purser, I have another question.
Yes, Mercy.
How long are we going to be here?
Oh, no more than several weeks, I imagine.
Oh, that is good news. I have a herbalism kit that I am able to use to make healing potions for the party.
Wonderful.
And yes, she did actually pronounce the H in herbalism.
you guys.
There's enough accents on Corvair that it does not phase Purser whatsoever.
There's enough
I mean,
accents here. Yeah.
Yeah, he met it on Darren once. Ugh.
Listen, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you know, they didn't reach cheese eating surrender monkey status yet. That history hasn't advanced that far. But
Based off of where we are in the timeline, if we're going with France, they've been the unstoppable Giga Chads and are about to like hit the 100 years of falling down like a staircase with pots and pans tied to them.
uh yeah, what else, if anything, would you guys like to do in the long market?
Okay. How much would a magic uh polearm be?
Okay. Well, starting like +1 or like
Yeah,
what's the
plus one.
rarity?
Plus one.
That's uncommon if I remember correctly. Let me look up here. No.
That sounds accurate.
Yeah, luckily I have a little thing for magic items that it makes it
Oh,
way more
500.
viable. Common, uncommon. Yeah, yeah, +1. Um, so yeah, you're looking at between 100 and 500. Probably past the halfway point for a weapon that isn't like expendable, but yeah, in the 2 to 300 range, maybe more if it was like particularly storied weapon or something. Like not only is this magic, it's you know, this was used in the so and so barbarian invasion. It's got a lot of tribal blood on it, so naturally we have to charge more, that type of thing. But
Hmm.
yeah, between 2 and 300 max you can expect for that one. Like I said,
Okay, yeah,
outside of
then
something with a story in it.
I would like to find like I can use a halberd, but I would prefer to have something like my Lucerne hammer. More of a beady thing than a stabby hacky thing.
Okay. Um, that's fine. So like I said, +1. Uh, are you gonna try and haggle for it, or is Mercy just gonna go to like, biggest weapon shop type place, go in and be like, I want that, and point at the wall and just have them take it down and charge you?
Mercy is not really the best at the intricacies of haggling, so if no one else accompanies her, then yeah, she's going to just absolutely pay face price.
Yeah. You know what? That's fair. Um, Honestly, you're getting a lot of confused looks. So that's enough to like so they don't immediately go into like rob the rube mode, because it's like the initial reaction is blinking surprise that like people probably think you're a construct that someone has like doing chores basically.
Has
So
this been constant the whole time we're here?
I mean, not constant, but anytime anybody gets a good look at Mercy, like, and starts to realize uh, whoa, that thing is sentient. Like, okay, like they're a little caught off guard by it.
So
Just
yeah,
because, yeah. Go ahead.
if there's people being funny about it, Purser will discreetly make sure he's nearby just in case something happens.
Ironically, they're way less hostile than a lot of places in Corvair. This is more like they just don't really know what to do with it. Like, the assumption seems to default to, okay, this thing obviously is a construct of sorts. It must be like the property of someone powerful. So we'll treat it as if it's a servant of someone powerful. Like that's kind of the default for a very class conscious society. So they're yeah, you know what? They wouldn't completely rob you. They'd just say 250 gold. That would
Okay.
be the upfront cost because like I said, they're not sure who's actually buying this. So
Yeah, it's probably a little bit unnerving to have like this. Let's see, how tall is she?
it's not even that you're a big construct. They've seen that plenty. It's that you don't look like any of the kinds they're used to. Like this
Yeah,
is
it's that you're also clearly a person.
yeah, that's the weird part. Like they're used to giant tech.
Mhm.
They're pretty proud of themselves and that they're pretty good with it, but you're weird.
Okay, 250 gold. And was I lucky enough to get a pole hammer, or is it just gonna be a halberd?
I would say just a halberd,
Okay, that's fine.
for now, just but yeah. You know
Question.
what? My explanation for that is they don't prefer most of their weapons are, especially that kind of thing, is designed for like very lightly armored targets. They don't need a lot of
Yeah, like
crushing
I've definitely
implements.
noticed that they don't really have the same like heavy armor that you'd see more often in Corvair. So yeah.
Well, they use it, but they don't use weapons that crack armor against, like they don't fight opponents armored very often. So,
Uh,
but yeah, what were you saying, Scott?
Um, no, honestly, yeah, I can wait till Mercy 7's done.
Okay. Anything else, Mercy?
no. And healing potions. She'd like to get some healing potions.
Ah, those are easy. I made a little cheat sheet. Um, what kind and how much here? I think I even have it listed.
If I could get um probably like 4 standard and 2 the next higher level.
Okay, I have their cost actually pinned. I'm mostly just proud that I did this. Under party loot, the cost for those is pretty universal. So the first one is
Mm.
standard, and then you wanted like greater healing potions too. I'm sorry.
Okay, if it's in Mishann. Oh, there we go. Found it. Okay, so yeah, and it's not like she really needs food or anything. So now that is something that she would actually try and haggle down a little bit. Because the grader is marked from 100 to 125.
Yeah. Yep.
So she would definitely try to push to get it down to the 100 level just because, like, as a healer, this is her task. This is what she's supposed to do. And
Mhm. So yeah, once again, either persuasion or another skill if you feel it's justified and can
uh,
explain it.
medicine. Just explaining, kind of
Yeah,
like going
I
into,
would
like,
accept medicine or your herbalism kit, either one of those.
ooh,
Hmm.
mm,
Yeah, a
okay, we ball. I'll go for the 27.
Okay. Yeah, then in that case you're able to get it down to the 100 mostly by just once again rattling off a lot of the recipes you list are completely unfamiliar. But your clear competency with it means that they kind of snap out of the gobsmacked like, oh wow, that's an interesting project. Oh Jesus, it's aware. Okay. Like and they kind of snap out of that and they switch over to Oh, okay. Well, regardless of circumstance, whatever's in there is a person and like knows what they're talking about. So they do drop the price down to the 100 gold per cost. So
Okay, so yep, that's 200 for the 2 greater and then 100 for the 4 standard.
yeah, sounds right.
Okay, yeah. And when I return to party, just basically good news, friends. I have been able to get many potions of healing.
Wonderful.
I like not dying.
I will do my best.
That's all we ask.
I like you not dying as well, Bemmy.
Thanks, Poisa. Appreciates that.
I do my
Uh,
best.
yeah, you do. You literally will trade spots with me. I've seen that happen.
It's the least I can do.
I mean, it's impressive. Like some of the
It,
miles of the monsters I've seen you put yourself in. I don't know why you do that to yourself.
you need to be very flexible as well. It's all about leverage and weight to throw people out of the way. It's not as easy as it looks.
No, I couldn't do it.
Cue
Not
cue
even a little.
the season 1 and season 2 montage of like Purser hurling himself into the jaws of horrible monsters. It's like a minute long.
Demi's just always off in the back scratching his head.
But
Why in the hell?
DM, can I use a free action to apply barbecue sauce to myself before leaping into the jaws of a giant lizard?
That's 4 die 4 plus 4.
I still vividly remember Pick getting eaten by that frog.
I was gonna say the frog is what comes up to mind with like Pick doing angry squeak panic noises, and then immediately its like mouth pouch doubles in size and it looks as confused as everyone else.
Good times.
But
Um,
I guess I will go and finally collect. I'll go to a store and collect my my freebie and see what else I got.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. For your freebies, we can say their store. We could easily say that they were war trophies, like they were, stuff you got in the aftermath. Whichever is you feel works better. In this case, if you're going for like, specifically your item, yeah, it's very much a you go in and you know what? My explanation for why it's free, um, your your BFF forever actually recommends you to go to a place that he would have his companions go to for tattooing and other work along those lines. And if you name drop him, they're willing to do it for free. He was an excellent customer.
I'll do just that to make it free.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's the explanation for the free item. Um, but yeah, while Balthazar is getting some work done, does anybody else want to do anything?
Ludger is going to go look for a cloak of protection.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Let me look that up. Okay. Yeah. A cloak of protection. Those are popular, especially in this particularly brutal time. So the Civil War has driven cost up a little bit, but it's still well within the standard, 1 to 500 gold. I would say a cloak of protection is gonna start off here in the capital at about 375, um, with room to go down for haggling if you want to try.
I will attempt to haggle.
Okay.
Not sure how effective it's going to be, though.
Okay. And persuasion, unless you can use something else.
I don't have anything higher than persuasion, so
Fair enough.
even that's not good. But Um,
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those they would like to give you a discount. They really would, but it's not their last, but they are actually running low, and the Civil War has disrupted trade enough that they're making these involves getting the thing made in probably Pivical, and then it's shipped to Earnixcol where they do the enchanting, and then it has to come here. And during the Civil War, the shipments haven't been moving around like they should, so they don't really want to drop the price too much.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I will still take one.
Okay.
So let me subtract that. Um, Okay. That and
Yeah, maybe it's just the shopping stuff, but so far the capital has made a relatively good impression on you guys. The street food is excellent if anybody stops to get some.
Oh
Um,
yeah, of course you do. Well, I mean Mercy doesn't, but
she can watch how much people enjoy it.
yeah, actually, it is kind of odd just how invested she seems to be in like making sure that Bemmy in particular, but like everybody else just eats.
Yeah, that's fair. Bemmy does give off an aura of like could easily wander off in a big city and and just never be seen again, to be fair. That's most
Hmm.
people's initial reaction to both Bemmy and Pick, and Pick's being very quiet, so
Yeah,
yeah.
Mercy 7 coming uh from Sharn. Like she definitely that's actually probably why she followed Bemmy to the Bellas. Um yeah, she's at home in big cities, so she's just making sure to stand by Bemmy, make sure that nothing untoward happens to her newfound friend.
The comedic part would be what would happen if someone actually did successfully try and kidnap Bemmy. Because that would be
God help them.
that would be
So,
fucking
But
comical.
also,
honestly, I'd be like, guys, it's okay. Don't worry. Mima's gonna handle this. Don't worry.
I mean, to be fair, if Mima has to come in and save you, she's not going to let you stay with us.
It's
Oh,
true.
and
Like, you
she would
can't play with any of your friends anymore.
50 more years. You good? That's fair. Yeah.
But
Back talking to the ghosts again.
I especially like that we have this like chain of protectiveness going on because I'm watching Mercy and Mercy's watching Bemmy.
And Mima's watching everyone.
Yay.
Well, she was doing that anyway. It's not much of a
Balthazar
detour.
Balthazar's in a tattoo parlor forming bad habits.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, while you're in there, it's not normally done, but they do offer you some substances to help. Like it's the common thing for especially the companions of various nobles that come in. It's like, you want a shot of unwatered wine or um, you
Is
know,
this they offer me crack, or it's like here's some Advil so it doesn't burn as much as we're scarring your arm.
No, you brought
whichever
your
you'd
own.
prefer. Like they
dude,
are yeah, it's
it's
kind
a
of
pre-modern setting. The Advil is crack.
it's a little less addictive, but yeah, it's a little like it could be as simple as unwatered wine, or it could be, chew on this sparkweed while uh, whichever you'd want.
What's sparkweed?
Sparkweed is um, a,
It's really exactly what
normally
it says on the tin.
normally
Is it
it's
is it
just
a
like,
weed that sparks?
well, interestingly enough, there's an element of that. It's normally just a type of like very mild narcotic that grows, but if it grows in Lemenian manifest zones, it tends to pick up a little bit of elemental spice, we'll say, which greatly enhances the narcotic elements of it, as well as giving it unique traits. It's called sparkweed from like patches that grow in areas with a lot of lightning, but it also can be very hot and smoldering, or like, kind of wintergreen cold, or what have you. But that's available as well.
Is Balthazar a menthol kind of guy?
I mean, the voice in your head absolutely is, and he's encouraging this. Like whatever you would. What?
Well, well, you put it that way. He'll take the sparkweed just so he doesn't get used to just so the pain goes away.
Okay. Yeah, it is a rush. And
Because if I remember right, the tattoo I'm getting, it is his entire fucking arm.
yeah, it's a sleeve.
That shit hurts.
And for the next 10 minutes, mechanically, as far as like combat, you have a +1 on wisdom saving throws.
I was going to say also, how much money do legendary magic items cost again?
A lot. Let me look here.
All right, more than 1,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Easily.
All
The,
right,
this ain't Pathfinder, boy. This ain't Pathfinder. It's reasonable.
If it,
you know.
if it was Pathfinder 1, it'll be like 50K.
It starts, your starting cost for legendary, assuming you could get someone to sell, would be would be this end up. I'll just put it in for comedic effect. Uh, there's your starting cost for legendaries.
All right, might have to do with payment plan.
Yeah.
Let's get. Does this parlor do payment plans for Blood Fury tattoos?
Would you take a check?
Yeah. When you're writing it out, boing. What's that mean? I don't know.
And
No,
how much is very rare? I'm thinking it's like in the thousands.
I mean, it could be as low as 5,000, but it could also go up
Okay.
to 50. So, you know,
All right.
rare is about the last tier where it's reasonable. Even with me like dramatically reducing shit. Um, once you get into very rare, it starts to get silly. Which isn't bad when it comes to selling loot, but buying it gets a little prohibitive.
All right.
So, Ludger, I think you were doing something, but I don't remember what.
Yeah. Just buying the cloak. As well as I am going to try to buy a greater healing potion, the one that's 100 gold, or can be 100 gold.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pin this. Okay. Yeah, greater healing potion. You're looking at 125 they'll start with, and you could try and haggle to get it down to 100 or somewhere. It's a range. If you as long as you don't get like sub 10, you'll probably be it probably will still be more than 100, but less than. Yeah, there you go. You know what?
Yeah, I'm also.
They'll drop it down to
Yeah, I was
100.
also.
You name drop Mercy.
Yeah, I was also going to throw in 2 commons, which are like the 25 ones. So
Yeah, those don't have a big range, so yeah, 25 is fine. Yep. But yeah. Cool. And anything else anybody wants to purchase?
So Purser will stock up on alchemical and arcane supplies, and he's gonna overall spend the week inscribing a scroll of magic circle.
Okay. Well, on that whole week note, when you guys are done shopping and you head back, it's still well before sunrise, so it's not an outrageous time to be out. But you see that High Lady Wayrub and Lord Onquai are in the courtyard garden. Uh, and you see that surprisingly, High Lord Gwynedd is there as well. Normally, nobody really likes to hang around with him much, but it seems he's there, and Lady Wayrub kind of waves you guys down as you come in. And one thing you notice in here, like in contrast to the city streets, Uh, I mean, it's better in the streets too, but the air is much drier than in the jungles below. And in the garden, it kind of like there's a blending of the smells of various nighttime flowers blooming. It's a very relaxing place. Um, and when you guys come over, uh, Lady Wayrub goes over basically the timeline that she foresees here and what the allied clans will want from you guys in the conclave, or at least the ones here. Um, but she predicts that, let's see here, let me just check, because she would know the travel times roughly. Because I don't think this is even her first one. It's one of her first ones, but it is not. Da-da-da-da. Okay. Yeah, she says you probably have about 3 more days until all the clans are here. Because everybody's gonna be moving pretty quick when it's called. They could be as long as 5 days, but she predicts probably about 3. So probably don't have quite a full week of downtime available, but you do have 3 days at least.
Do we know how many potions of healing I'd be able to make with my herbalism kit?
Well, it takes 1 week of downtime
Okay.
to start doing the checks. So, there's an actual formula. I just don't have it memorized up. I know for a standard one, it's a week, and it's half the cost of buying one. So it would be, half of 25.
Eh,
But it does take 5 days.
okay, yeah, in that case, just I'm going to chill and presumably work through the recaps that everybody else has been writing. Thank you so much for those. That helps answer quite a few of my questions.
Hmm.
And hopefully adds many more. That's the goal.
Oh god, yeah, no,
But
like I'm still absolutely lost, but at least now I know, like,
you have references. Um, but yeah. So let's see here. Let
Say
me.
you'll see like Purser scribbling in his notes and performing a bunch of experimentation, just drawing chalk circles all over every surface in whatever room he's staying in.
Yeah. So it's like
Balthazar just
a 5-star hotel that he is just defacing. Uh, it's pure like madman scribbles on the walls.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
be
like
Silva.
reading calculus. If you don't know what you're seeing, it all looks exactly the same.
and then Balthazar currently in pain from being inked. That's probably not done. I don't know. I'm assuming
Oh
it's
no,
gonna take the
it's
three
done by
day.
the time you guys get
I was
back.
I,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't know if I want to make it the 3, but sure. I was also gonna grab winged boots on my way back, so I don't have to run across the city again.
Okay. Winged
Un-
boots are how
uncommon.
much? Uncommon? Okay. Um, I would say a flying item. They're definitely like known. Give me a persuasion check if you want it to be lower than I would say
Sure.
350 they'll start with for those.
I'm gonna
Flying
reroll.
items are pretty utility valued.
I'm gonna
Yeah, they're gonna
reroll.
say okay. You know what? 325. There we go. They'll drop
325.
25 off of it.
All right.
Once again, your BFF there, he directs you to just the right place. It's an auction house, but this isn't an auction night. They have spare stock, just like he knew they would. And yeah, you're able to get some very fashionable
Sure.
boots. Yeah, he's a great guy to have on your side socially.
Yep. My best friend is one of those guys I befriended. Right. I'm just trying to remember. Is that a nihilist?
Oh, yeah. The three one is a heir of House Deneath, one is an heir of House Cannith,
One's
and
a sign
one
of Caneth and
is
one of Deneath.
yeah, and I think what was the third one?
I don't think there was a third one. I just got two
Was
because
there?
of my roll.
Okay, all right, yeah, then it was just those two. Yeah. Um, they don't have a lot of pull here because they've never been here and didn't know it existed up until like a month or two ago. But um, yeah, either way, you have a better option. You have a former clan head slash like wild hedonist to give you lots of helpful advice. Um, But yeah, when you guys get back,
I come back and you can clearly tell I chose the sparkweed option.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't knock you over, but you are way more relaxed than you've been since the attack on Mishann, visibly so.
That's probably for the best. Actually, you should probably give it more.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like I said, it's for sale if you want to buy some. Um, yeah, buy as much as you want. It
You know
certainly
what?
isn't addictive.
For the sake of me not committing a funny and a funny, you know what? I'll buy a couple death sticks.
Okay. I would say one dose is 30 gold. You know what? That's crazy. One dose is 15 gold. There
I
you go.
better. What are we buying? Coke?
Yeah.
Let's.
One dose is 15 gold.
I'll buy two,
All right. There you go.
and I'll
And
just put it in there. Two sparkweeds.
there you go. But yeah, as far as like she's okay if you guys want to put your purchases away, but the Lady Waverub is pretty insistent that you at least go over as a refresher what, the clans expect, what your allies expect from you here. Um,
Oh,
Excuse me.
also, during this downtime, would I be able to actually get my spell bolts like filled?
yeah, that's definitely a service you could have. One sec here. Let me look up that. Oh, right, I remember now because you because you're like, Purser, I want these spells. I don't have those. I remember now. Okay, it's coming back to me. I was like, why the fuck does he just have
Yeah,
Purser do it for free? Oh yeah.
I can do fireball now.
There you go. There you go. Let's see.
In that case, I would definitely start with fireball.
Okay, all right. Save yourself some money while I'm quickly looking up spell costs. Object Jesus. There we go.
Banishment? Question mark.
I mean,
I
let
don't
me
know.
look up the fucking item here.
Yeah, I don't remember how it works.
I honestly don't either.
It has to be third level.
Yeah. Well, and there's
Okay,
more. There was another restriction too. Where is it? It was
It's like
Chronicles of Eberron. There it is.
yeah, it's second or third level.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, here we go.
hello.
Magical. Here we go. Oh, mundane weapons, magical world. Here we go. When is a crossbow? All right, nice. Crossbow silencer. You didn't go for the silencer. Shocker, given that you have an artillery piece. All right, spellbolt. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna put this.
There we go.
I'm gonna put this right here, just for my own sanity, the next time it comes up, because it should.
My
All right,
audio.
party.
I could also do dispel magic.
See, I'm gonna pin this.
Huh?
Pin message. There we go.
First.
But yeah, it's a single third level or lower from the wizard spell list, which is activated by corresponding arcane sigils, blah blah blah. Must require a ranged or melee spell attack when the spell is cast, and must have a range other than self.
Right.
In other words, no
So
fireball.
I guess no fire.
yeah, no fireball. I could do fire bolts, but then you're just casting fire bolts.
Yeah, it's it loses some of its awesomeness. I'm sure there is some good uses of that, but I don't know them off the top of my head because I've never
Yeah,
used it.
I have to start looking because that basically all my things was like, oh yeah, magical artillery, that's going to be useful, and now it's like, so
Yeah,
about
I'm using
that.
it right out of the book. I'm sure there really are some good uses. I don't know the spell. I'm not that much of a nerd. I don't know the list that well off the top of my head. Um, I will be happy to take a gander at that later on and give you some advice, but I can't
The
tell you right now.
only one I remember off the top of my head that's third level, but I don't know how cheesy this would be vampiric touch.
Okay. I mean, I'm actually okay with that if it's viable here. Let's see. 5e.
I'm pulling up a list to see what I can learn to go into that real quick. Just
Yeah.
while we're.
Okay, vampiric touch. So range area. Oh, yeah. There's your problem. Range area self. They nerfed that one because fucking sorcerers were having too good a time. Half the nerfs in 5e are fucking anti-sorcerer measures. Sorry, just as somebody who enjoys sorcerers, that offends me.
Well, to me, it's the obnoxiousness of like, oh no, the fucking sorcerers who can only cast like barely any spells pick good ones and spam them.
Yeah.
How dare the spamming caster spam?
There are 4 spells I can learn that can go into that.
Okay.
Melf's Acid Arrow, Ray of Enfeeblement, Scorching Ray, and Vampiric Touch. And I
Vampiric
think
touch counts.
actually,
It has a range of
Scorching.
self. That's what threw me off.
Well, but a melee spell attack against a creature within your reach. Oh,
Yeah, but it's listed as a range of self. Like that's what I'm looking at. That's the problem. The imbued spell must have a ranged or melee spell attack when the spell is cast and have a range other than self.
Oh,
Vampiric.
okay. I missed the range other than self in my filters. So yeah, it's just Acid Arrow, Enfeeblement, and Scorching Ray.
Man, that's fucking restrictive. I'm gonna look through Seas of Idori and see if there's some additional options for that for you. Just
An arrow
because
that shoots Scorching Rays would not be bad. And
that's
that's in
true.
flavor for Purser as well.
That's true. Yeah, that's not too bad. Um, yeah, I'll play around with that. I don't want it to be too restrictive, but at the same time, yeah, I'll play around with that later on. But for now, Scorching Ray seems the easiest answer there. um, if you're willing to do that. And since Purser knows it, you don't have to pay the cost to
Oh,
have somebody
I
do it
don't
for you.
yet. I'll have to learn it.
That's fair.
I'm just saying
Uh,
it will be in flavor,
I could
so I
know
will
it.
learn it.
Yeah, I
But
could
if
have
we're
that down.
mass producing spell bolts, it's a pretty good spell to put in them.
That's fair. That's fair.
of
Otherwise,
all things,
looking
I only have 10, so
Yeah. Okay.
otherwise looking at the list, I think the real powerhouse would end up being Witch Bolt,
Yeah,
because
I
Witch
could see
Bolt's a
it.
strong spell.
That's fair. That's fair. Um,
But yeah,
yeah. Um, okay. So we'll after the session, I'll try and come up with some stuff that work
yeah,
with
we can
those,
always
because
just retcon it in. But yeah, because
yeah,
I'm thinking,
I'm not trying to nerf them. I'm just trying to work around the rules that are in it at the moment, and I'll play around with it when I have the time.
you know,
Um,
because I was
but
thinking of ray enfeeblement if those are my options, just as a utility thing, but not all of them, just like a handful, just in case, like, we ever have to fight, like, hey, look, it's a guy who can basically, like, is a living wood chipper, and,
you never run into those. Okay, yeah, Wave Enfeeblement is definitely an option here. 5e General, here we go. I think Xanathars might have some spellcasting
yeah,
costs. Let me look here.
I'm
Wave
pretty
Enfeeblement.
sure I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a fucking thing of, like, we're getting to the level where it's like, um, yeah, I just choose to succeed at that. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, on the upside, it's not, his spell save is DC 26. Did you pass? Dan, you know I can't pass. All right, here we go.
yeah, that was a nasty power word pen.
I mean, so here's the kicker. The upside of it being actual Sorcerer Kings, I can't ever argue with it. It's like,
Right, because it's gonna
yeah,
be.
yeah, it'd
It
be like
still
if you
felt
guys,
bad.
no, like it's as long as it makes sense in lore, I'll put up with a lot. All right, let's see here. Okay, casting a spell. No, that's magic item costs. I'm sorry here. I should have this. I know it's somewhere.
It's fine for now, especially since we'll probably think about it later. And it occurs to me that I know I just said that, but it occurred to me that it has a DC of 13, which basically might as be an auto fail at the levels we're getting to. So, I
Oh, okay.
might be better off with just pure damage. So,
Okay.
might want to wait till Purser gets Scorching Ray.
Fair enough. All right. I will try
Actually,
and
on that note,
yes.
how much would a scroll of Scorching Ray cost? Because
It is.
Luger would be willing to go halvesies to have him learn that.
I think that's second level. That's uncommon, right?
Yeah.
So Scorching Ray, they're going to be shocked that you want to buy it. That's going to be
Because
50
of these
gold.
people.
Like they're like, "Oh, you're going on like a you're really going to war. You need a scroll of it? Jeez. All right. Yeah. So that's going to be 50 gold. Like the
Yeah,
minimum cost.
I'll just pay the full price for that. It's
Okay.
yeah, I might as well just inscribe it right now.
Fair enough. Yeah, you definitely have the time. Um, cool. Yeah, and that right there takes out some stuff. But all that stuff aside, Lady Wayrub goes over like what the clans who are there at the moment that you've promised stuff to want.
Hmm.
Her clan wants she wants her clan status restored, including Olenquai as like a designated lesser clan under her. Because technically they were both basically stricken from the books when they went rogue. Lady Wayrub will also mention that her, like the second lesser clan that she traditionally had under her, Apami, they're she's pretty mad about it. Clearly, their status is like having been elevated to a greater clan. She said they're gonna want to keep that. She objects to it like since she doesn't want to come back into the city state's like system in a weak position. But she will say, she's not adamant enough about it to risk a party deal. That's just her personal preference. She would like if she got everything they had back before they left, or everything that can be reasonably gotten back.
I'm presuming, if I remember correctly, we didn't actually fight them.
No, you actually haven't had any dealings with Apami yet.
Yeah, that strikes me as we don't have an alliance. We didn't fight them in the war. We can't just go like, "Hey, yeah, you weren't even involved in this kerfuffle, but you have to capitulate and like lose sovereignty now." I'm sure
No,
you'll be cool with that.
and that's the thing. She knows it's a long thing, but she's just like laying out her Christmas list here, basically. Um, as as your ally. Olenquai doesn't really want anything beyond. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to go home. High Lord Gwynedd waits for her to finish her somewhat heated rant. Um, Mostly not quite ignoring, but like having a heavy interest in the various lunar moths that like flutter around the garden. And but when it comes to him, he kind of jerks his head up and right, yes. Uh, nothing's really changed. You came through on your end of the initial deal for various things. So, as before, I want reform within the slave system and much less oversight on my research. He gives a big toothy grin.
I am going to. I know it's a little bit of backtracking. I am going to suggest a strategy of maybe not. Effectively, we're not going to get Apame back. But unless like they turn into the world's greatest masochists and just throw themselves at the feet out of the blue for no fucking reason. But we might be able to try to negotiate some sort of economic or military, like, not reparations, but like something where the two clans can become a bit more powerful because they only have the one lesser clan. That's something Ludger sees as not necessarily an easy thing, but possibly like a way to kind of restore Wayrub status as a great clan without robbing Apame or others.
You could definitely propose it, and Lady Wayrub likes the plan, but Lord Gwynedd will like absent-mindedly bring up without really clearly he doesn't care that much. He just brings up, well, that's a fair point, but didn't you take away uh the only lesser clan that one sec here. That the Pekway the High Lady Pekway had? Gizbul's now their own force. They don't have any.
Fair point.
Which, like I said, Lady Wayrub is not thrilled about this. Like, she didn't expect a lot. She's happy to try, but um, it'll be a hard sell for her to just basically, I want all of it back. But
Yeah, the only thing Ludiger can think of that would basically be good for long-term shit would be, and I don't know how much of this there even is, but lesser, like, obligations to Alum Cusp in terms of, like, taxation or manpower or the sort of stuff that you're supposed to kick up in the feudal system.
you could definitely
Because
try for it.
that's not anyone giving stuff, that's just relief. Uh, and it could even be sold as like, well, they have to get up and running again. And, it's more generous than it would be for that, but it allows everyone to, like, sell it as, like, a, like, it's a tax cut, effectively, to basically
Yeah.
allow them
Yeah.
to hopefully, like, regain a lot of their lost power. And Ludger would very much, like, as much as he does not like them, in the name of international diplomacy, he would, suggest that we try to get Peckway support on that to avoid, hey, but he got 2 ice creams and I didn't get any.
Yeah.
To basically bring Peckway in on that as a way to soothe, ruffled feathers over the whole Gizbul thing.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
she's
because
definitely smart enough to go along with that deal.
because Ludger would very much go out of his way to effectively say, Nuxavaro has effectively, he wouldn't say it like this, but Nuxavaro has pretty much gotten kicked into the nuts and will probably have to fight just to even remain a great clan. The last thing we need to do right now is to hit them with reparations. For sure. So
Okay. Does anybody else have any ideas regarding that political landscape?
Nothing in particular.
Mercy 7 does not. This is not her forte. She's just standing in the corner, occasionally doing like musical little like hums and
Hey, you Pick and Bemmy are all doing what they usually do then. That's usually what Bemmy and Pick do.
I'm just imagining Mercy 7 is sounding like Helper from the Venture Brothers right now.
You have to listen for the intoning. Yeah, it's about the upper intonation. Yeah. But yeah. Does anybody have any objections to High Lord Gwynedd's requests? It's the exact same thing he made, as far as like his deal with you guys. It's still to the letter.
Uh,
Basic.
so
Yeah, he
the
wants slave reform and
responsible,
less oversight.
the lesser, the the skeptical, person in me is a little iffy on that oversight thing. On the other hand, Ludger's already accepting that he's going to have to look the other way on a lot of shit he doesn't want to, as part of like actually making a peace. So
Yeah, I
because
mean, fair enough.
because
I
in the
get that.
same way that he would want Nuxavaro to to basically front the cost to repair Mishann after their bullshit attack, he
Right.
also doesn't want to basically kick them over down and which again, Ludger will bring up is like maybe we shouldn't throw rocks at high ranking figures as they're exiled or like kicked out.
It's an option.
Which again, Ludger wasn't there for that.
But so it sounds as if there's no objections to this to keeping to the original agreement with the always friendly High Lord Gwinnett. Um, cool, cool. Yeah. And in that case, just largely going back and forth. I, I feel like Mercy, in the time that this is happening, Mercy, you get a very simultaneously very precise and somewhat scattered retelling of like whenever something comes up, either Bemi or Pick will explain, you know, oh, dem's the clan, they had us go fight Big Flowers, and uh it was in a real steamy place, and he had like he gave us a lot of poisons and stuff, and was talking about making the best thing to make slaves do what they're supposed to do. Uh, you
Hmm.
know, things like that.
Um.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. When he asked for the no oversight, can I do an insight check for that?
Sure.
Not great.
He's he's as upfront as he's always been. I mean, you weren't there for the original agreement, but he really just doesn't like religious fanatics dictating the advancement of science. Like that's, he's he's working to make things better for everyone, and if everyone would just calm down about stuff, he would be able to get on with his work.
And
Um,
given that Mercy is an advancement of science,
yeah,
she can
yeah,
sympathize with that.
yeah, exactly. Um, But, which by the way, if you think about it, stuff that the Sulatar object to on ethical grounds has to be comedic. But, yeah, by the end of the night, there's a faint musical chime from the door. Probably by now Balthazar is like completely come down. Your arm's starting to smart a bit. Um, and causing several of the colorful lunar moths in the garden to take to the air. Like one of them was sitting probably on Mercy's head or something. Uh, and at the door is a messenger with an invitation to a performance tomorrow night at the Soul's Aspiration Theater from High Lady Siridit Hixum Apame. Fellow guests will include um, the Huopam, uh, uh, as well as the General Wirral Direct. Uh, it's somewhat informal in the sense that you don't have to bring the entire Mishann Alliance with you. Um, when High Lady Waver reads over it, she says, she just groans and says, "It's with that woman. It's almost certainly a way to get a feel for all of you before the actual conclave. She plays the game well, if nothing else."
You mean to tell me we're gonna go and get to see a show?
To her credit, she has been around Bemi long enough where she like there's no world weary sigh or just confusion. Uh, yes, that's If you've never been to one, the these performances are quite entrancing. They're usually, and this is the best on the islands, so it'll be worth it. Let's see. Doesn't say what the performance is, but I'm sure it'll be quite entertaining.
Seems like it will be a delightful evening.
No, let's not go that far. And she looks up and sees like it is almost sunrise at this point. She, well, I didn't realize it's this late. Um, well, I appreciate any efforts to regain Clan Wayrub's holdings, but at this point I think we're talking in circles. Do any of you three have anything to? Well, four actually. She probably looks over. Like I feel like it's primarily just been Cursor and Ludger seated, and I mean, Balthazar, would you have found a place to sit while you're coming down, or were you just like over there in the garden with the other three?
Oh, let's see. What would he be doing? He'll probably be sitting down, just a smile on his face.
Okay, yeah, then you're just hanging out in the garden with the other three. Yeah, she would lean over.
He's been staring at the garden for about 10 hours now.
It is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I mean, even if you're not uh in an elevated state. Um, but
He is. That's why he's been staring at it for 10 hours.
yeah, yeah. Less. It's been about 4, but
Right.
yeah, you're. Um,
I'm willing to bet even Ben's getting concerned that he's still been staring at there for 10 hours.
yeah, these.
Oh, you do a staring contest with the ball? I used to do that all the time.
No, it's at those sunflowers.
They're
Those are
lilies.
some nice. Those are
Well,
some nice
these they're
sunflowers.
not sunflowers.
I don't see any sunflowers.
Whatever.
What sunflowers are you talking about, Balthazar?
Yeah. Are you okay, man? Oh, jeez.
Oh, they laced this shit with black adder venom. Oh fuck.
Oh, jeez, man. Yeah.
Why do you
But
keep screaming about snakes?
yeah. Hey, he didn't take the snake heroin.
Oh,
Oh
They
man,
laced it.
don't take the snake heroin with don't do bad
Don't
psychotics with
mix.
downers. Yeah, man, that would be a bad time. Um, but
I was gonna say, Balthazar unknowingly did what he wanted to do the second he got here. He killed them all.
yeah. But yeah, unless you guys have anything else, it would. I mean, for those of you who are dedicated to the nighttime sleeping patterns, it's about time to head to bed for the evening and get ready for tomorrow's big night.
Okay.
I mean, with that said, Cursor, I think you and maybe Balthazar are the only ones locked to requiring long sleep periods. Do you, do you do you want to be like, I don't care if I'm tired at night. I'm not doing this anymore. Or
It's
are
okay.
you gonna switch
I've
over to the nighttime?
committed to doing the nighttime when we're in drow settlements, but when we're like camping or whatever, I am not sleeping during the day.
Yeah, you have to. Cursor has to be jet lagged almost all the
Oh,
time.
perpetually, yeah.
Jesus, God. Uh,
Look, it's
especially
the
in a
price.
party where most people don't sleep. Like there's
It's a
God.
mandatory assignment. He's not supposed to enjoy it.
In
Fair
like
enough.
3 levels from now, I don't think I'll even need sleep as a monk, so I'll be fine.
Yeah, so it'll just be Purser suffering. Um, but
Well, it won't be me suffering. It'll be everyone else doing what I say
and
Hey,
suffering
because they
too.
have to.
Hey, when my lizard folk comes in, then things will be finally
Yeah, there you go.
you'll finally have another ally versus Ludger, who is literally pulling the dad like just rest in my eyes.
Yeah, on the upside, also, they sleep very much in the saltwater crocodile way. So just their eyes open, like staring at you. Is he actually sleeping? Oh yeah. God, that's unsettling. I preferred Ludger. Um, but yeah,
Ludger at least pretended.
yeah. But yeah, as you guys head up to your rooms, of course, they are all helpfully equipped with blackout curtains. Um, before you rest for the night, Balthazar, now that you're still a little elevated, but it's like it's not quite as potent. It wasn't really powerful anyways, but it was enough to sufficiently numb you and get you in a more relaxed headspace, we'll say. But you hear someone contacting you through the ring. Um, and yeah, one sec here. You hear the former head of Biapo says, "Well, Balthazar, I was thinking that since we're somewhat trapped together, we should get to know one another. Um, why don't you tell me a bit about your life? And every bit you share, I'll do my best to share something from mine as well."
And who's saying this again?
That is Rajin, aka Lord Tons of Fun, from your ring.
Uh, I'll say to him, and I'm assuming I'm come. I think you already said it, I'm coming down from the
Yeah, you're a little elevated. You're nowhere. You're not blitzed at all anymore. Yeah. You're
from
just in a better mood at this point, honestly.
it's for the best. I'm from a land far to the north of the other continent, originally called Sire.
Fair. I did gather that much. But it's your family, things like that. Uh, I assume you're uh forgive me. How old are you?
I am 26.
Ah, and you're not uh of Elvish. You seem of Elvish descent, or how's that
Half Elven.
work? Ah, well, I did not know that was a thing. But fair enough. And your immediate family is how are they?
Dead.
Ah, I'm sorry to hear that. But were you? d- Does that mean you inherit? All right. You mentioned you were nobility. I remember that much.
If there was something to inherit, yes, I believe by definition I would be.
All right. Well, that's something.
Sire is long gone.
Well, did they have holding it elsewhere, investments maybe, or?
Not really.
Huh.
Sire, base something happened during our great battle, and basically the entire nation got swallowed up by an undead curse, I believe.
Hmm. Well,
Cursor's eye twitches somewhere.
he doesn't know why. It's just a reflexive habit at this point. Uh, but well, you have my condolences for that. It's hard to lose not just one thing, but I can't imagine losing everything. Would be terrible. On my side of things, I was 511. Um, uh, let's see. I was an only child. I never married. There was pressure there, but uh, all of my engagements ended after a few months. My tastes were a bit much for any partners. Honestly, it meant that while I was clan head, my sister's children were going to be next in line. My niece, who died alongside me, and my nephew, who I'm hoping is still alive and well, they were going to be the inheritors. Uh, did you have a partner or? while they are past, how was your did you have siblings or anything along that line? Is there did they
I
have
was
children?
I was the third born, so they sent me to a monk monastery to basically get me out of their politics.
Mm.
So,
Well,
not
that's actually
really.
somewhat familiar. Uh, well, it's then uh, uh the warmth of the flame. You know, it may burn, but at least the heat was there. Um, I'm not sure what the term would be, but to find an upside in all of your losses, uh, at least you're not bound to some religious nonsense.
Nope.
For my part, I did have a sister. I presumably still do. Um, she's an idiot, uh, but her children were uh, solid. Um, it's I can't believe they ignored the year family. It's been leading Biapo for over 1,000 years. Um, but and I will admit, I- I've had my suspicions before you lot came in and did what you did about trade coming in from someone on the mainland to the southern tribes. In the last decade before the plague, there's been a drop in trade with some of the tribals to the far south. Um, at least initially, and then they would come up with obviously foreign goods that they would try and trade back to us. Sometimes we'd buy them, but someone has been providing, well, had been providing them with some type of trade. Who knows after the plague, but um, it's been unpleasant. But I did want to say I was getting concerned about your uh, thirst for vengeance. That's a risky vice to indulge in here on Zendrik. You don't want to attach you don't want to attract the eyes of the, the the scar that abides. Um, I knew some folks who got too far into that. It's a bad way to go. Frankly, it's much better to just enjoy life and its pleasures.
I agree.
And yeah, and he just kind of chats until Balthazar like is ready to go to sleep and then shuts up. And yeah, unless does anybody have anything they want to do during the next basically the daylight period of the city?
Circles.
All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a
He,
circle.
he's like
Uh,
staying up all night and like drawing circles for the day.
Burning the daylight hours, yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, in that case, night falls over the city as Alum Cusp comes alive. Um, the streets illuminate with magical lights. You guys head out. Um, do any of you want to dress in anything particularly ornate, or are you just going to go with, you know, this isn't the conclave. This is technically a just a play. It's just the Pope and like leading general are in attendance. So
Yeah, I'll wear my formal vestments.
okay,
Uther would break out the fancy mustache wax.
fair enough.
I don't think Bemmy really has any fancy clothes.
Okay, you could get some, but they would look local. So if you want to just go with your more, you know, SBEMI standard stuff, that's quite all right.
Okay.
And
I heard there's a tribal amongst us. He could be any one of us. Demi, like, I don't know, like chewing on a potato or something, but in fancy clothes.
I heard Balthazar start to say something. Did you want to dress up for the for the big play, or are you just gonna go with standard? Your standard gear's fancy enough. Brother Sam, you with us, bud?
Oh yeah.
Did you want Balthazar to like wear his standard stuff, or is he just gonna go to the play as is?
Sure, you'll bring his more noble stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you do have some old stuff when you had to go to formal events back in Corvair, so that's definitely viable. And Mercy, what would you like to wear?
Um, she would go to the others for guidance on this. Like, what would be appropriate to wear? Do I have to go clothes shopping? Are my vestments appropriate? Like,
Hmm. What do
So
you
if I was
like
shit
to wear,
posting,
Mercy?
hmm?
What do you like to wear?
Um, my personal preferences do not really extend to the clothing that I wear.
Oh my
You look
god, it's like
great.
talking to a spell formula.
You look great the way you is. I'm
What
one of the
color do you
guidance.
like, Mercy?
Oh, that's a good question.
Blue, like my eyes.
Okay. What color are your vestments, by the way? Like what god what's going on there? I don't know.
Uh,
Uh,
uh
sorry, go ahead.
fridge. No, yeah, you go.
No, I was just so it's Sovereign Host and it's Dull Dorn, I believe, right?
Yes, yes, it's Dawn.
Okay. So that's already
So
got a lot of blue going on.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just vestments would be fine then.
Yeah, a lot of
Just
blue sword and shield like, woven into it. Yeah.
mhm. They appreciate martial traditions. I think they'll respect it. I assume they have their own name for Goldorn.
They're aware of the worship of the sovereign stuff, but that's like they
It's
still
not their thing, but
yeah, it's still their knowledge of it comes via the giant pantheon. So
yeah, if
um
we say the giantess name for Noldorn, they'll recognize it.
yeah, exactly. Yep, yep. Okay. So vestments, noble clothes, and mustache wax and Bemmy.
So I I said vestments. It's just his completely normal coat, but with like a fancy like sash going on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that is classic D&D adventure. Put on the swag, puts on sash. I'm fucking ready. You
Well,
know?
it's because he already wears his formal uniform everywhere.
Yeah, to the point of almost heat exhaustion. That's fair. Um,
Almost.
and in seriousness, like Ludger would, in addition to that, like probably spend a good amount of time like shining his like armor, polishing his boots, like getting
yeah,
his
go through the
uniform,
whole thing. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
get his clothes pressed, like the works to basically like spick and clean.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. The old-fashioned boot shine. Yeah, you guys step out onto the streets in the evening, and you are spiffed up and ready for a night on the town. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, you meet. With you is High Lady Wayrub, Lord Onquai, and at the door to the guest estate is High Lord Gwynedd, Lady Pikier, and Lady Biapo, all of whom were invited as well. Um, at least, maybe there's more, but that's the people who meet you there. Um, and it seems the trend of fashionably late would be pretty rude here. So, one of those things, there's no need to linger and try and just pin down an imprecise time. Uh, Heading to it, which I'll move your token. The theater, like all repurposed giant structures, is huge. Uh, Big even by giant standards, or by even by giant standards, it would be able to seat thousands. Um, the theater is open to the air, and you honestly, it looks closer to maybe some type of gladiatorial thing, but it's not big enough for it. It's shaped like a ring with a tower structure in the center. Oddly enough, there's no obvious stage, only a wide, heavily inlaid stone field that goes all the way uh, from the tower out to the sort of stands, the bleachers type area. And that makeshift stage is filled with a full orchestra. A lot of the instruments are unfamiliar, giant sized, giant drums, huge horns. Um, but that's more or less open to the air as well. The seating is very strangely arrayed. While it's set up like a set of terrace seats, terrace the bleacher thing, the first several front rows are flat to the ground and built like opera boxes. So they'll come like they won't get that good a view, and it just doesn't really seem to work. Um, but nevertheless, you find your way to the different boxes are all labeled. You find your way to the spear lily box, which is itself as big as a decent-sized house or cottage, um, and are welcomed inside by drow servants. You see, they're not slaves because of the lack of collars, um, but you do see. Let's see here. The seating is arranged along the edges of the box and sort of angled to look downwards and out. Like not enough to fall out of the very cushioned seat, but why would you want to stare at the ground? Mingling around a table is a small crowd of people, including, you're surprised to see, three more allied clan heads. High Lady Earnix, Lord Piva, and Lady Lemquick. Um, a striking woman in a shimmering black dress adorned with jewelry walks up and greets you with a smile on her face. She holds up both hands, palm up, and slightly inclines her head to Lady Wayrub, who returns the gesture a moment later, clearly annoyed at having to acknowledge similar rank. The woman then turns to you guys and with a big smile introduces herself. Greetings and welcome to Alamcusp, Mishann Alliance. I hope I pronounced that right. Uh, I know it can be a bit overwhelming if you're not accustomed to it, but this city is the last bastion of true civilization on the islands, and we're happy to share it with equally dignified people. I am High Lady Siridit Paxum Apami, but you're free to call me Siridit. And she smiles again. Let me put an image of her.
As a note, just due to Mercy's warforged nature, her armor is actually kind of incorporated into her body, so she is still in full armor.
Yep. Fair
And
enough.
are weapons a no-go or?
No, you see people wearing weapons, including the general, has his enormous like fatally glowing red hot greatsword on his back. So
Okay,
does
so it wouldn't have been unusual for me to bring my halberd.
the halberd might be unusual just because it's awkward to like fit into the opera box.
You're
Like
like
Okay,
there's
then I have. In that
sitting
case,
in
I
the
have.
seats, and the poor guy behind you is trying to look over the halberd.
In that case, I have my mason dagger.
okay, yeah. Honestly, it's more that it will dig into the ceiling. Like no, you know what? No, it wouldn't. These are giant sized opera boxes. It's not gonna dig into the ceiling, but it's still awkward. Um, but yeah, that's fair. Um, but yeah, she let's see. For her part, Lady Wayrub looks like she's been forced to like eat a lemon at the implication that she needs permission to be informal with Lady Apami, but she doesn't say anything. And continuing on, the very cheerful woman says, come, let me introduce you to the others." And She leads you over to the small circle of people who are already there. Um, First of all, this is Kuo Palm Tumong Nikhet, a wizened-looking elderly drow man in heavy red robes with golden brands across his face. Looks at all of you and simply says, "Greetings," as he holds out his hands palm up without any sort of nod to the head. Lady Wayrobe mirrors the gesture, except she bows slightly. Lord Olenquai bows much deeper. I will do. I'll put his image up. And yeah, I would say you guys have been around this culture long enough that you can pick up on stuff. The fact that he only has two names means that, like much of the clergy, he almost certainly is not of noble blood. You know what? I'm gonna edit that so that it doesn't just look like four names because there we go.
Sick.
And the next person introduced is a hulking man, especially for drow, well over 6 feet tall and pretty thickly muscled. The impression of overall strength and size is enhanced by the black armor he's wearing and the glowing red greatsword at his back. You did see him earlier, but that was at a bit of a distance. He's just as intimidating, if not more so, up close. This is General Wirral Darrett, leader of the Asheville Paladins. You should count yourselves lucky that I was able to have him attend. The man's refused almost all invites before now. Her tone is teasing, and the head of Apame puts on an exaggerated pout. And I will put the general here. Yep. The general's stern expression doesn't really change, and he answers with a bit of impatience. My duties keep me occupied, as I've mentioned before. I came here to properly meet the foreigners who united the feuding clans. As he looks between all of you, it's you get the feeling the man doesn't have much of an awe. Like he doesn't really seem to have a relaxed mode. Um, he it could be easily interpreted as a glare, but it's just as likely he just doesn't ever turn that expression off. So,
I'll just
uh,
match his vibe and give him the paladin nod. He knows the one.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Real ones recognize the real ones.
Yep, yep. And Lady Epime, once that's done with, goes around introducing you guys to several others, including a few ranking priests and priestesses who seem to fulfill mostly bureaucratic roles. The paladins who personally guard the cool palm, and one person whom most of you recognize. And this is Toes. I've been told you've met. Uh, the man who was once known as Toes Kafang Lemquick gives you all of you a thin-lipped smile. Oh, we have. This charming bunch were the ones who helped my idiotic cousin take control of the clan and got me banished.
It's good to see you again.
Oh, likewise. Uh, Lady Epime's smile doesn't even waver. So you do know each other. That simplifies things a bit. And immediately just kind of like leaving you guys awkwardly with Sis standing with him, she raises her voice. Excuse me, everyone. The show will be starting soon, so find your seats. And yeah, you guys can go around and seat yourselves. It's kind of it's an opera box, so it's not circular, but however you guys want to seat yourselves. Um,
DM, can we sit behind Toes and throw popcorn at him the whole performance.
Do we have an image for Toes?
Oh yeah, we do. One sec. I'll put it up again because he's not a clan head. I don't want to pin him and confuse things. Um, where is it? There he is. Okay. He used to have a much longer name before he lost it all. Um, but yeah. And once you guys, in about 5 minutes, honestly, whether you seat yourselves or not, the show seems about to start. It's a If you weren't ready for it, it's a little jarring. The entire opera box raises up into the air, levitating until it's well above you in the highest seats in the back. The featureless stone stage below begins to glow as you see about a dozen or so drow walk out in a circle from the central building, on the stone platform. The orchestra begins slowly playing, with dozens of stringed instruments and horns filling the air with music. Then the drow, in their arcane circle, begin casting spells, causing the entire theater to light up. For those of you who are familiar with written magical formulas, you realize with kind of a start that the entire theater acts as a massive magical circuit. Um,
Hmm.
all around you, the scenery shimmers until you're no longer sitting in a seat well above a glowing stone stage. You're sort of suspended in the air, looking down on a massive horde of drow standing on a beach, in the twilight. There are countless small boats behind them, mostly pulling up onto the beach. The drow are mostly dressed in Saurian leathers, and you can tell that they're clearly Volkori tribals from the tattoos and equipment. You can feel the cool ocean breeze and the smell of salt and unwashed bodies in the air. A disembodied voice speaks, deep and calm, as if it's right next to you. It is the year 6130 of the Broken Age. A particularly savage tribe from the mainland barbarians, led by the warlord Rin of Ripping Fangs, have landed on the shores of the southern swamps. He gathers allies from the locals foolish enough to work with him. Meanwhile, Alam Cusp suffers under the hand of King Gwithwy. It seems to be a historical play that follows the invasion of the southern tribes, and the city-state's struggle for survival. Um, while the magic that controls the illusion around you is strong, with only a small bit of effort, you can pull yourself out of it, really at any point you wish, to kind of come back and see the opera box. Um, Glancing around, you notice a few of the other guests are murmuring, clearly more interested in chatting or scheming than watching the show. Um, this does earn them some dirty looks from High Lady Epime, but she doesn't say anything from her seat next to the cool palm. And yeah, you guys could do the like whispering in movie theater thing, or you could watch the show.
Uh, she is going to like just kind of keep an ear on the. Wait, is this being broadcast in Giant or Elvish?
Um, that's a good. You know what? I would say probably in Giant. Yeah,
Okay.
this is high theater. It's there. There would have been requests to put it in Elvish, but it's one of those, if you're not educated enough to enjoy it, you shouldn't be here. So it's in Giant.
That's fair.
Um,
Okay, good. That means that she actually understands what's happening. Um, yeah, so she'll listen, but she just turns her head and stares unblinkingly at Toes.
who for his part is sitting with his like head on his chin, watching the play, occasionally sort of pulling himself out, looking around. He sees your stare and cocks an eyebrow, but doesn't seem to care that much, and then goes back to the show. And is there anything else anybody wants to do for this before the first intermission?
Nope.
I guess Ludger is doing his best to just like enjoy the sights and sounds because for once
He doesn't understand it. Yeah.
he's the one that doesn't understand shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
I
be
mean that
taking the intermission time to recast comprehend languages.
that's fair. Yeah, yeah. It is one of those things, the fact that it's so it feels more like a dream than a play. Like you can feel yourself, but you don't even see like your body when you look around. It just feels like the illusion just provides a vantage point. Um, and like almost all of your senses are completely pulled into it, so it's pretty engrossing, at least as far as your senses. The story, it depends on how much you like historical plays. Uh, but the first intermission does come along. Um, it is a 3-hour production, so there's 2 intermissions in that time. Um, but the first intermission is called, and the illusion fades away as everyone gets up to stretch their legs, use the restroom, chat, or have some of the snacks. There's a small table laid out with freshly made dishes. Very spicy orok curry served in a flatbread made from crackle corn flour. Wine with toltasol flowers for a touch of vanilla flavoring. Chilled pomegranate juice and prickly pear cacti fruit are the sort of not quite a meal, but something to nibble on.
Um, it's basically just gonna go right for him. Ludger does basically sample some of the wines and juices.
Yeah, fair enough. Um, but Purser, what are you doing out of curiosity? Are you just
Apart
like
from
stretching?
recasting the spell,
If
just enjoying the scenery.
okay, fair enough.
Just hanging
In
out.
that yeah, in that case, General Durrett approaches you with with the same intense look as usual, and says once again in Elvish, uh, "That is a unique talisman you wear. It resembles the symbol of the promise of fire." He shows you a charm that he has carefully wrapped around his right bracer. It's a burning archway with the hernia symbol at its apex. What is your
Hmm.
faith?
I'd say the torch of progress in my heavily accented Elvish.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and you could easily have that gives Ludger something to translate if you want
Yeah.
Bon, Bongiorno,
to.
and
Arrivederci.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
with translation, I'll explain that it's the same spirit that the torch of progress people worship here, but we follow its tenets in different ways where I come from.
Yeah. He kind of nods a little bit. Disappointing, but not surprising. Well, it is a bit surprising. I did not think their faith had enough adherents left to spread to other lands.
Oh, if he wants to, I'm happy to like get into like the religious history that I know and just like
It's
talk
not
about how it spread and developed over time.
you get the feeling he didn't want that. It was just like he was caught off guard to see an obvious foreigner wearing a symbol like that apparently means something he's semi-familiar with. But
Yeah,
when
but
you
he
when
made
you
the
just
mistake of saying something interesting to an academic.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And he'll listen to that politely for like a minute before he just kind of cuts it off. And but you wear the symbol so openly, you're at least a devout warrior, yes.
I just give a strong nod. Always.
Then you have noticed the fiendish activity on this island. Something tied to one of the overlords has been active here on the main island recently, no more than a few years. But it's not one of the three I'm familiar with. Zendrik usually fights against Karnareva, Zel, Erakai, and of course the Scar that abides. The new force isn't like any of them. Seems to drive folk mad by whispering things to them. Things that none should know. At first I was convinced it was the Fate Weaver's work, but none of what I could get out of the banned victims so far has anything to do with prophecy, and none of them have shown any inclination or ability to scheme like her servants typically have.
It is, as far as I'm aware, another of their number. One moment. The truth in the darkness. Tulareshka, they call her. Terrible
He,
truths that unmake you.
yeah, he's very interested, and like if he can get you talking about foreign fiends, like stuff he's not familiar about that could be a threat, he is going to pump you information until the intermission is nearly over.
Oh yeah, I'm
Um,
happy to talk shop with another paladin. Like, we'll like share notes on how to kill demons and stuff, and talk about
yeah,
the overlords and what's going on in the area.
yeah. Yeah, and honestly, like given the relatively limited time, he flat out tells Purser, he flat out tells you, come to when sometime before you leave, come and speak with me in the Tower of Wrath before your delegation departs.
Of
I need
course.
to take proper notes here.
Yeah, Purser's made a friend.
As as much as paladins have friends. But Bemi, are you back?
I am.
Okay. Bemi, um, the new head of the Lemquick clan walks up to you, handing you a gilded bowl of watered wine from the snack table. For her part, Rurliel isn't in her typical full plate, instead being in a fine dress that you do notice has some light chainmail sewn into it, likely as a mix of decoration and just acknowledgement that there's no way to get her completely out of armor.
Hmm.
She's surprisingly flat-footed without the heeled riding boots that she prefers, although she's still towering by her people's standards. Uh, Hello, Bemi. I'm glad to see you here.
No, it's real happy to be here. I've never seen a show like this before.
I've been to some. They're She kind of like looks around at the crowd. They're not as interesting as I think they could be. Whenever there's something like this in the capital, High Lady Irnix has her lesser clans come to Irnix Kull, and she uses magic to transport all of us to a spot just outside the city walls. She kind of like shrugs and takes a pretty long drink of the wine. It's faster, but I'd rather ride. I had to leave Weta behind. He pines without me. Hopefully he hasn't killed anyone by the time I get back.
Oh, got a horse that only likes you, huh?
And I would say, Bemi, give me a history check or with advantage.
Okay. All right. History with advantage. Flat roll. Ah, 11.
You know what? You beat 10. This isn't something that happened that long ago. Uh, Weta is her war mount, the the three horn or the tri-horn trained for war that she rides around. Basically a triceratops, so like elephant
Oh,
sized
so
death
so.
dinosaur.
Oh man, yeah, it's like that is a very very impressive mount that you ride. How
And yeah,
long did you raise it from an egg? And just like questions like that, wanting to know more about the dinosaur.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's very happy to talk about like riding stuff and um like through the rest of the intermission. And although she and her
On
cousin
three, on three, say what your favorite dinosaur is.
although she and her cousin have made it a point to even avoid looking at one another, She does tell you, Bemmy, that if you have free time, she would love to see more of the capital with you some night. When the warning chime goes for the resumption of the play, Ruriel offers for you to sit next to her.
Yep, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Ludger is doing the thumbs up from How to Train Your Dragon.
And Bemmy's just gonna look at you just as confused as Toothless would. We're just being nice. I don't understand. What?
But Mercy 7, an older drow woman in an ornate black and violet dress approaches you. There's a faint aura of magic about her as she gestures towards you, and kind of like, not quite squinting, but definitely has the look on her face of like puzzled one, and says, "So that's not just some sort of armor. What are you exactly?"
I am Mercy 7, Warforged created in order to aid my nation in the field of battle.
Hmm. Well, Mercy, I suppose some introductions are in order, since you weren't with this bunch when they visited me. I am High Lady Ernix, leader of the only clan on the island to truly understand magic. Now, if you're a creation, you say your nation made you? How did they do that? Because you resemble things I've seen on the mainland.
And as sad as she can possibly look with like a fucking metal plate for a face, Mercy just makes a small little helpless gesture. I am unfortunately not trained in the ways that I was brought to life with. I actually did not gain access to magic until sometime after the war.
Hmm. Well, uh, because you really do. And she just like kind of circles around you. She's an unsettling person. She's not physically intimidating in the least, but something about her is uncomfortable. As she just kind of circles around like very much just appraising you magically.
And you said this was Lady Mesfi?
High Lady Irnix.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Messi Punchin Irnix.
yes, yeah. The lady and high, I have unfortunately used them interchangeably because it's a mouthful. But when someone says High Lord or High Lady, that's the sign of like a greater clan. If it's just Lord or Lady, that's
Hmm.
they're a lower clan. But yeah, I usually try to keep my stories to myself. After all, who wants to hear the recollections of an old woman? But I will say, southern edge of the Titan's Teeth Mountains has a fascinating tribe of Volcori that you should consider visiting, Mercy 7.
Uh, Eyes go blink, blink. Um,
Keep
do
that in
you
mind.
have directions to?
She, she just smiles. A decent map should point you the way of the mountain chain. Enjoy the play. And she walks off, looking around the room.
Okay, and that was where's my notes?
The Titan's Teeth Mountains.
Titan's Teeth Mountains. And she said that there are Valkyrie.
The tribal drow, scorpion tribes. Um, but yeah, Volcori tribes are so these are the quote unquote civilized drow. The Volcori tribes are tribal. They live in more simplistic societies, villages, towns at best. more hunter-gatherer, subsistence farming, and typically druidic magics. They very much reject the legacy of the giants. These are the Sulatar who like view themselves as the inheritors of
Oh,
the giant legacy.
okay. Okay. So Volkuri. All right. I totally
Spelling is under
misspelled
political
that.
notes. Yeah,
Yeah, I see
political
that.
rundown. Yeah. Uh,
The Mishann information Valkyrie.
yep, yep. Um, but let's see here.
Okay, well, in that case, Mercy is going to make a mental note to speak with everybody else later, just kind of like get their feel for.
He was another one who helped the party, but she's a dangerous person, probably. Her interests very much align with the party. Um, let's see, other stuff. Oh, Balthazar, uh, Lord Gwynedd, High Lord Gwynedd actually approaches you, um, and who like uh, as he's like adding something to his bowl of wine, um, he takes like a quick sniff of it, kind of stirs it around, and um, uh, Lord Haldron, yes, I remembered your nobility, but I'm not sure of your land's official titles, so I hope Lord will suffice.
Yes, that is me. How are you?
Ah, well, I am all right, but I could be better. I was hoping to speak with you or another noble in your group regarding your people's alchemical studies. I was hoping to have gotten something by now.
I sent some things.
Oh, did you?
Not a
Out of
whole
character?
lot, but I was like some early correspondence.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then in that case, he would just say, I was hoping to have gotten more. Easy fix.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the beginner's primer here where it was quite interesting to see an alternate take on things, but um, the fact that it's a beginner's primer inevitably leads me to think that your folk have more complex things available.
I'm sure we are, but I'm personally not affiliated with alchemist studies, so I wouldn't really know how to help you.
Hmm, it's a shame. And yeah, he's not particularly offended or upset, but he's mostly just trying he like as much as he can without flat out badgering you. He's just trying to get a date for the next batch of Corvarin alchemy notes. And, and if you stonewall him, that's fine. But yeah, at this point, all of you have been, chatting with people, and the first intermission ends, and everybody goes back to sit where they need to. Lady Apame changes her seat, apologizing to Tumong Niken, and sits next to High Lady Wayrub, as well as any party members who happen to be nearby. And as the play starts, despite her earlier basically shushing people, she kind of breaks decorum a little bit and murmurs just loud enough. Like I said, anybody who wants to be nearby to hear this could hear. She says, under the cover of the play, she says, now that we have some privacy, I want to make some things clear. I'm sure you're stewing over my clan's return to the spotlight, but if you want the temple to back your alliance, you're not going to fight it. Coolpalm and I have become quite close since the Wayrub clan chose to flee rather than accept responsibility for its failures in the south. Um, Lady Wayrub just like gives the other woman a disgusted look. You're the same as ever, happy to whore yourself for even the slightest chance at advancement. Um, Rather than look offended, Lady Epime just lets out a soft chuckle. I care more about my clan and use every resource to help them. You and your father were always too direct for the grand game. I'm amazed that a clan filled with warrior scholars as dull as your lot has lasted this long. But, petty sniping aside, my point remains. As long as any agreement that you make or your alliance makes acknowledges Epimy's status and our new holdings, I can guarantee that it'll be looked on kindly by the temple. If not, well, it really would be a shame if you did all that scheming and killing, only to end up with a Celieia against Mishann and its folk. And, yeah, for her part, she just goes goes back to paying attention to the play. Salia, my bad. Salia, by the way, Lady Werewolf will explain to anybody listening that that is a formal declaration by the temple, usually in regard to a new law, spell, or trend. If a Salia is issued against Mishann, it won't invalidate the alliance or any clan agreements, but it will make sure that the common Sulatar folk on the island view working with Mishann as taboo. Think of it as very similar to like a fatwa. Um, it's it's not as binding as a fatwa would be in some places, but but it is a bad thing to have against you if you're trying to like make progress. But yeah, the play continues. A second intermission comes through. There's more social chatting, but unless anybody wants to particularly approach someone over something, um, there's no big like revelations that happen. And the final,
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
Woodger would, basically start talking about like our pet project on the history of the Battle of Mishann and that sort of shit, just to redirect her anger, from like, so she's not just fucking stewing
For the
over
next hour and a
like,
half, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. For her part, uh, the leader of Wayrub does seem to appreciate just something else to focus on. Her like clan historian instincts come to the fore, and she likes the idea of doing more, more monuments to the dead. It's still strange to do them and such like something that just happened. Normally they would get all the information, but they'd wait a decade or two to see how it looks in hindsight, but before putting anything up. But um, she doesn't disapprove of it, and she understands where you're coming from, where we don't have 800 years to fucking try and
Yeah.
look back. So um, yeah, she does approve of the concept. She says, such things can be great boons for historians in the distant future. And in the short term, I agree, it will show we have proper respect for those lost on either side. I'll have some of my clan's best genealogists help your sculptors to ensure accuracy. So that project has her full support, and we'll definitely go ahead. But yeah, other than that, the final act of the play comes to an end with the main characters joining together to ensure that the monarchy is replaced by the theocratic system that's still in place to this day. Uh, and honestly, while it had a pretty clear bias towards the temple, the play was surprisingly interesting, even if you miss, a lot of the historical references and cultural cues. Um, it also had given their attitude towards them, you wouldn't expect that it had a pretty sympathetic view of the tribal drow, um, portraying most of them as being manipulated by the ruthless and brutal mainland warlord, with one of the love interests being a Volkuri tribal woman who falls in love with the general at the time of Alum Cusp. Um, it's one of those things where this is it's relatively enlightened in the same way that like a play or a movie from the 1930s or a movie from the 1940s could be relatively enlightened that it has like a mixed race couple. It's still still pretty brutal towards the tribal drow. They're still the enemies, but it portrays them as salvageable, I guess. Um,
I mean, it's not lost on Ludger of like, an invading army from the sea that is like, united against by in a coalition led by the church. Huh.
Yeah,
Huh.
there's probably
I
might have been.
wonder who that could possibly be talking about.
Yeah, there might have been some deliberate elements there in picking that particular
Next, you're going to
flavor.
tell me that Alexander Nevsky is not actually about the Teutonic Knights.
Uh, but yeah, after the play, you guys all return to the Wayrobe compound. You still have about half the night left. A little bit of downtime if anybody wants to frantically draw circles or mumble to themselves in a maddening fashion. Or just talk about what happened, go over the play or go over the apparent offer from Apame, or at least its leader, where it's, hey, if you don't rock the boat that she's set up, she's willing to at least go along with it. But if you do, then she's, you know, probably sleeping with the Pope, and will try and, upset that apple cart. So.
Hmm.
Ludger has a general sense that, you know, basically mercantilism is going to win out in the end if like everything is set up cleverly, which and also Ludger could very much like if he wanted to be particularly spiteful, bring in the fucking megacorp that does like entertainment shit and like then laugh at that house as like they get like fucking curb stomped by like mega Hollywood.
House Ireland, yeah, yeah, bring in House Ireland. That
I
would
don't
be an
care if it does
interesting.
damage to us, and I don't care if we suffer as long as they lose.
Oh, I see how it is. You could be spiteful and
Oh
get even with
yes.
them, but Lord
Nah,
forbid I kill them.
yeah. Memes aside, as funny as that would be, like Ludger is like let the mean girl talk. We're gonna the fact that those two uh Wayrub and Alanquai are going to be like the two clans that get the most ridiculous amount of Corvair tech, like ahead of everybody else, is probably going to be more like impactful in the end than like the temporary like sniping from like Applebum or I can't remember the fucking name. Bardrow.
Apame, yeah. Um,
Apame, yeah.
yeah. Well, and I mean to also to the nonviolent crowds side of things. House Fjarlin, they're entertainers for God's sakes. They're not going to kill anybody. They would just they would just
Uh-huh.
come in and do
Uh-huh.
entertainer things.
I'm sure they're not. I'm sure
Next
they
thing you're
won't.
gonna tell me is that like you could like you could piss off Frank Sinatra and nothing was gonna happen.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ignore the
Fjarlin,
men with Italian accents that go to every one of his concerts.
they're just super fans. Um,
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
back in Sharn,
They
a man with
they
large
they
jowls petting a kitten sits at a desk.
they appreciate fine art. What can I say?
yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, Damon from from the other game, he got a contract with House Fjarlin. Like they're they're like the equivalent of record companies mixed with Hollywood. Like they're legitimate.
Closest
Um,
we're gonna
Uh, Balthazar wakes up with like old Gray's head like cut off in his bed.
You will see
get.
fucking rage unimaginable. He won't scream. He will find you.
But the
I
John
will
Wick arc.
800 gold.
I'm
I
not
will
mad at
empty
what you did, son. I'm mad at who you did it to.
Yeah.
The
But
city will be burning by the time I'm done if I don't find them.
but yeah, you have 2 days of waiting until you get word that the last of the clans have arrived, including the two new heads of Nuxavaro and Eperon. Your ally,
Wait,
High Lady. Yeah,
no.
yeah. Nuxavaro
Uh,
has a new
no,
clan
no,
head.
not Naxavaro. Eperin is the junkyard dogs, right?
Yeah,
Or is that someone else?
their clan head died in combat. That's what they say.
Huh. Huh. Um.
I mean, we killed their leader, and you think they wouldn't want to negotiate?
No, it's just you mean the most sneaky, backstabby, like schemy fucking clan of all of them. Their leader died without any one of us seeing it, with no body, and he's quote unquote dead. Uh huh.
But
Eh,
yeah, your allies, High Lady Peckway and High Lord Gizbel, have arrived as well. There's still a bit of hesitation when they like list him as a High Lord, but they're willing to go with it. Um, but yeah, um, the remaining clans meet with you in the Wayward compound before the big day, or well, night. And just to remind you of what they expect from the conclave as well, High Lady Earnix wants more authority granted to the clans, just in general. Like, we want more states' rights type thing. Um, High Lady Peckway she'd prefer no slave reform on a grand scale, but isn't willing to actually fight over it. And it's just kind of a shrug thing. And other than that, all of her agreements are with you guys personally, so she doesn't really care much. Uh, High Lord Gizbel wants an official acknowledgement of his clan's new status as a greater clan. And that's kind of his only big point. So realistically, you have two things to try and keep in mind with negotiating: more authority to the clans themselves from the in the city-state legal system, and an acknowledgement of Gizbel as a greater clan. But yeah, like I said, those 2 days pass by. Um, and it is the night of the conclave. You guys can have prep for it in whatever fashion you want. Strapped a bunch of flasks of alchemical fire under your coat, whatever you want to do. Um, and all of your allies are ready to head out just as the sun is setting. Um, this is the first
I
time you've. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I spend the prep time like basically polishing and like cleaning or like applying like oil and like oil, like poly and that the equivalent of that to the Nuxavaro shield and axe to make it like as presentable as possible. If anything, I would also likely you know potentially even like have like maybe have like I'm not sure if it would fit, but like the equivalent of like a velvet like box or whatever to present it in, like
Ooh.
or a pillow or something to really make it as like fancy and like formal as possible.
Okay.
If
Yeah,
nothing else, like red velvet blanket to like wrap it in, so it's not
yeah,
just
I
like
wrapping it in would be the most like traditionally appropriate. Like you'll wrap the axe in it and put it on top of the shield, and that's a good way to hand weapons to someone. Um, but yeah, that is absolutely fair to do. But the sun is setting. This is like as everybody gathers, this is the first time you've seen Drow willingly head outside in any form of daylight, even if it's only about 20 minutes until sunset. Seems nobody's willing to be late. Uh,
Mm.
For her part, High Lady Wayrub is dressed in a fine silken robe with her clan colors. She explains that whenever a conclave or major political event is held, there's always a vanities pageant. And seeing pretty much everybody's confused looks, she kind of tries to explain as you guys are walking. Um, it's an old custom. It predates the theocracy. Everyone, even non-clan members, are invited to the gardens around the Temple of Renewed Promise. Events are set up to join at will. A wide range of events are the norm. Things like poetry, cracking rocks, racing, wrestling, even harvesting. Uh, what makes a Vanities pageant unique is that, well, nobody, especially the nobility, is expected to pick things that they're particularly good at. The temple says it's meant to be a humbling experience that reaffirms the wisdom and the promise of the flame. Stay true to your role in Paradise Awaits. Given that it started out as an event in the royal era, I personally think the tradition is simply a way for everyone to relax, and it doesn't hurt that it gives even the clanless a chance to see their betters brought down a peg, I believe is the expression. And she actually said that part in Corvarin comic.
Hmm.
But yeah, she leads you. Well, she doesn't lead you. You go through another set of thick stone walls and see the center of worship for the Sulatar of the Caparian Islands. Um, it is a towering structure, tall even by giant standards. By For them, it would be about 6 stories. That translates into 180 feet tall. Uh, Made from more of the white marble-like material that seems common throughout the rest of the city. Countless accents of gold and fire bronze cast in the shape of flames or vaguely, humanoid, could be giant, could be elvish, hard to tell. Spreading out from the building are veins of blood glass inlaid in the streets in 4 lines heading in different directions. These veins glow red with like obviously barely suppressed heat, which you guys know from your experience in the ruins in Mishann means that there is an elemental actively bound inside. Um, and for mercy's sake, blood glass, it looks like obsidian with like little specks of gems suspended in it, and
Hmm.
it seems to have like almost volcanic heat flowing through it. It doesn't burn to touch, but there's it's looking into it, you can feel something's in there. Um, and yeah,
Interesting.
the grounds around this huge center of worship hum with activity, as most of the garden and courtyard space has been taken up to clear space for what truly looks like a fairground, honestly. You see, all sorts of events, each run by an expert. You see massive, giant-sized drums, enormous horn, poetry reading, singing, wrestling, archery, racing, foot and mounted, um, cooking, rock cracking, um, mowing or harvesting with a scythe, as well as a few others. But all sorts of things like events to basically participate in. And like I said, part of the fun seems to be most of the people participating are not very good at these things. Um, there's a lot of fairly good-natured ribbing about like, a someone from a clan that specializes in, say Biapo, so a clan that specializes in trading, standing up and trying to recite poetry. Or we'll just say Eberron for an example, a clan that specializes in like, technically their main export is like far in like some of the dirtiest work imaginable, trying to recite like fairly abstract historical events, or Wayrub, Clan Wayrub, the historians trying their hand at rock cracking or cooking. And like I said, it's one of those things. There doesn't seem to be any issue with doing poorly. The crowd seems to enjoy it. It's a bit jarring to see such failures taken in good humor, given how reserved the Sulitar usually seem to be. You'd guess that the nearly unwatered wine that's sold by Temple Run stands is probably helping a bit. But yeah, it's like I said, it's odd to see. You haven't seen the Sulitar let their hair down much, but this is an event.
Purser's body is ready.
I was about to say, we can participate. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
Are
it,
there
it
are there prizes?
there are not prizes per se, but it's one of those things where it's sort of
The prize
it's
is
basic.
goodwill.
The prize is goodwill, and it's largely encouraged to like nobody from a clan, like for example, the
The
Pick Your
prize
clan.
is the friends we made along the way.
Oh, shut up.
Nobody
Okay.
from the Pick Your clan is choosing archery because they're incredible at archery. They're the ones choosing like wrestling or cooking. So it's kind of expected you pick something you're bad at, and if you fail hilariously, everyone laughs about it. Um, and if you do
Okay.
well, and it's like, oh wow, he's not trained in it at all, you did well. Hey, great. Like it's just that seems to be the crowd's attitude.
Okay. Well,
So as soon as Purser gets the idea, he's gonna track down like some kind of target shooting. And he's not the worst at that, but he's gonna do it in the dark.
Hey, everybody turn off your dancing lights.
Watch this idiot miss a target 10 times in a row.
Yeah,
It's like
Uh,
yeah.
10 feet in front of me.
what's
not the
this
front.
rock cracking?
Rock cracking is basically that's one of the like low things. So it's realistically translates as either slave or like the lowest possible people in a clan system. Basically breaking rocks. And it's how fast you can crack a rock apart it's a lot like lumberjack stuff where it's like how fast can you chop down a tree? It's how fast can you break apart like pretty good sized boulder. Like not huge, but about person sized.
Hi, Lady Wayrup. I have a question.
Yes.
Is it taboo for me to do well at an event?
No, it's not taboo, but it is expected you pick something that you're not naturally gifted at.
Hmm. Eyes go blink, blink.
Yeah.
Um.
Hmm.
It's like the guy who's like 60 pounds soaking wet gets a win in the wrestling ring. Like everybody's gonna be buying the guy's drinks and just wowing. And if he gets absolutely like beaten unconscious for 3 rounds, they're still going to be buying him drinks because it was hilarious to watch that little guy just get thrown around the ring. Like that level of
Okay.
it's surprisingly low stakes. It's one of the few instances in this society where it's okay to do badly publicly, because normally you just get eaten alive, especially for people higher up.
Okay. Looking around, is there anything that involves either acrobatics or sleight of hand?
I would say racing or I mean cooking. Realistically, there's a certain amount of sleight of hand there. Yeah, yeah.
Performance as well. I get a 0 win.
Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, no, they're actually I did it's I couldn't find the name for it, but it's basically a like the Ninja Warrior course type system where it's like you that's their acrobatics thing where it's like how quickly
Okay.
you can go through an obstacle course.
Yeah, not something that like you could just use athletics brute strength for. You have to be dexterous.
Yeah, like you could get through some of it just brute forcing it, but you're not gonna brute force the spinning, foam covered bats by just running through.
I don't know. Watch
Okay, most
the metal
extreme
lady.
elimination.
Uh,
Oh my god, she's still going.
yeah, watch the metal lady with the belt of giant strength just break
I
through.
mean, and they probably have like bruisers that could do it too, but that's missing the spirit
That's
of the
not the
thing.
point. Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't
Yeah. In
matter
that
what you
case.
say, it'll all be dubbed over.
Yeah. In that case, she takes an interest in doing the most extreme elimination course.
Okay. Yeah, obstacle course. Uh, Yeah, and like as you guys kind of pick out stuff that sounds fun to do, um, you do see that most of the clan heads are pulling like their warriors or just otherwise the people with them aside and warning them not to overindulge before having them head out into the festival. Usually, at least one stays behind to guard the leadership, but there are exceptions like Lady Pikir and Lord Olenquai. The former of which, or the latter of which, has to almost chase off the last of his warriors. He's, practically, I'll be with High Lady and won't be drinking. You bunch have earned it. Now go relax a bit, or I'll put you on day watch for the next week. And yeah, but with the kids running around to the play, you guys can head out to stuff. So I hear archery, basically. It can be substituted for throwing knives and stuff too. It's the same spirit. Um, Obstacle
I think
course.
I'd prefer throwing knives just because Purser might actually kill someone shooting blind with a bow.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Yeah, that's guys. This will be hilarious. Oh my God, he hit the Pope. Yeah.
A second knife is going towards the Pope.
Um. So I
God damn
I
it.
I hear that obstacle course. Is there anything else that calls to anybody?
You know what? Bemmy's gonna wrestle.
Okay, wrestling. Okay, all right. You've
Wrestle.
wrestled gators before.
More like rode him and held on for dear life, but yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Sure.
The guy they have, actually they have two people leading it. One is one of the clan warriors from clan. Where is it here? Thank God for this map. Clan Pekway, who spend like all of their fighting time in full ridiculous plate. So he looks like a elvish shaved gorilla. And one of them is an Olenquai clan warrior who is a little bit leaner, but both of them absolutely just mountains of elvish muscle. So
I thought
yeah,
it was people who were bad at this.
yeah, that's you. They have professionals competing against you. Like that's part of the
Oh,
gag.
I see. Oh, all right.
Femi suddenly regretting life decisions that led him up to this point.
I thought I was gonna be in the same weight class as someone.
Nope.
I guess
Nope.
not.
Welcome to
Nope.
UFC 2, Bemmy. Now go
Jiu-Jitsu
punch
Joe.
out that fucking sumo wrestler as like 3 times your body weight.
Yeah. Anybody else? There's on the performance end of things, there's these giant like taiko type drums. There's like basically Alf horns, poetry, singing, um, all kinds
Luther
of
will
stuff.
do poetry.
Are you good at
And
poetry?
yeah, but no one's gonna think I'm good at poetry because I'm a fucking like
Oh,
outlander.
that's true, and it's like
And to be fair, it isn't even like a a tee. I get at best a +4. Like
okay,
if we're going off of pure rolls.
all right, okay.
You tell them the German story about the butcher and his boys.
I really do like the idea that it is like, they'll be wowed by my mastery uh, of the pitter patter of.
No, Ludger knows better. He just, he's going to try that, and he's going to try cracking if he has time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. And is anything calling to Balthazar?
Let's see. What hasn't been taken yet?
Uh,
Taiko drums.
taiko drums, giant horns, cooking, singing, racing, rock cracking, um,
You know what?
uh,
I'll do cooking.
harvesting, cooking. Okay, all right, okay. Uh,
I
fair enough.
put the fucking black antler venom in the soup.
Listen, the Futurama thing. How does everybody feel about, me cooking dinner? I don't know, man. What about with a little, laced with a little confidence? Shakes a vial of LSD. Yeah. Uh,
Tell you what, no, you won't be hungry afterwards because
You'll be eating
you're
your
not.
opponent's face.
No, it's hard to go get something from the fridge when it's guarded by a fucking dragon.
yeah, there you go. Okay. So in that case, we'll just do name order here. We'll go Mercy 7 first.
Yay.
Mercy, your obstacle course, it's not quite as like extravagant in that like it's not actively spinning, um, like a lot of the greatest challenge or whatever, the Ninja Warrior stuff. But to make things, they do make up for that in some ways because there are some areas where you run into and like watching someone else compete, you see why it seems to be a thing of agility. Because the moment they step into it, they just sort of start floating a little bit. So it seems like gravity just doesn't work quite right in the obstacle course. So just powering through it is very difficult. It's more like maneuvering underwater than anything else.
Blink,
But
blink.
yeah, yeah, the person ahead of you, let's see what they get with a flat roll. Um, yeah, the person ahead of you like successfully springboards off the first basically it's like a vertically standing diver's board. They just lean back against and that's used to launch yourself forward. And they lean back against it, launch themselves forward, and promptly go face first into the very first obstacle, which immediately knocks them out. And like come to a slowly spinning stop. Clearly unconscious. The crowd absolutely, there's lots of cheers, laughter, and um, immediately, some people go in, make sure the person's all right. After a minute, there's the yell from the sort of announcer, "He's all right, folks!" As like the one of the healers holds up the still limp hand in sort of an okay sign. Um, and it is your turn.
Blink, blink. Okay, let's see.
So it's the first one is a acrobatics check. Okay.
Oh, 6 foot tall, 350 pounds of metal and wood. Clank, 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 clank.
So you don't quite like face plant into basically a wiffle bat, but your initial launch, you do a pretty good launch just because you have enough force to really get yourself going, but you sort of overshoot it and start bouncing. There's very much a like pinball effect where you're kind of bouncing between different things for the first set of sort of spinning bats, and then floating on to the next part. Um, and then I need a flat dexterity save as chains that look like they're
Oh God,
sort
no.
of writhing on their own start
No.
whipping around and trying to grab limbs. Um, yeah, one of them lassos around your 1 foot, and from that point on, you're just like buffeted. You're not even hit against things that much because they seem to be deliberately not pretty much non-lethal and even low damage. But you are just spun in the same way of like uh a 6-year-old ties a rope to like a ball and just spins it around. There's a powerful vertigo as you're just spun in a whirling circle and whipped towards the end. And assuming you're willing to keep going to the last one, um, I would need a. Let me look here. I did have a list of things, but I want to.
It is a good thing that she does not have a stomach with which to throw up.
Yeah, there would definitely be some of it. Oh, okay. Yeah. And this last one is a perception check. As you're like, now that the world is completely spinning and you're literally weightless, whipping towards the next challenge. Yeah, in spite of it, you're like, maybe it's because you don't have to deal with the same frailties of organic stuff, but you're able to sort of perceive uh the what would be the best way to describe this? Sort of the gravity falls basically, where you're whipped towards um what looks like just kind of flowing water, but it's flowing oddly. The moment you
Mhm.
touch it, gravity seems to return for until you're hit the ground, and then as you bounce up, it it's back to weightlessness, and there's like 3 falls of it. So the challenge here is to basically maneuver through these falls without just getting whacked into the ground every time. But you're able to pretty like neatly dodge it just by you don't need to know what it does to know that I probably don't want to like get thrown face first into a mini waterfall.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, you come out of it amidst some cheers, some laughter. Clearly, it's one of those. Well, let's hear it for Mercy 7. Quite a show, everybody. Quite a show. And yeah, overall, people seem there's not like heels of hilarious laughter, like you didn't flub everything, but you also didn't ace everything. So it's you know clearly you're just rolling with it as you can, and yeah, seems like people are willing to buy you drinks, not knowing that that's pointless.
Mm. And yeah, coming out of it, I do try to like play up the dizziness and vertigo a little bit before I give a short bow of thanks.
Yeah, luckily you don't need to play it up that much. So yeah,
Yeah, it's not a performance.
no
It's
performance needed.
Wait
Yeah,
a minute. She doesn't have an inner ear.
she has an equivalent made
servos.
of crystal. Yeah, yeah, it's made of crystal and live wood, and yeah, it's like a pseudo servo. So it was thrown off a little bit by the spinning. But yeah. So with that, we'll go to the next person in line. Bemmy, um, time to wrestle. Uh, so,
All
uh,
right.
first thing I will need is a straight up athletics check, as
Okay.
this big boy and you are getting ready to do some old fashioned wrestling.
I'm tempted to cast um, Zephyr Strike and just run around with the Benny Hill music playing, but I will not do that.
You could. Magic is a bit discouraged.
Uh, wow, you're really tall. Here goes the takedown. You didn't move an inch. I'm standing there looking at him past his belly. I guess it's your turn.
Yeah, yeah. There's a pause, and then there's like Bemmy, you're an immediate start out as a fan favorite because like it is nimble as hell. You like basically somersault your way up the guy and immediately like go for the lock elbow around neck, pivot, whip him down to the ground, and he just doesn't fucking move. And
The
it,
technique's there. It's
yeah,
just
oh
not
yeah.
working. It's just not.
And uh, he like he just kind of chuckles at you. He says, "Go limp, okay, all right." Um, and then he, he leans forward first and then just springboards backwards, so his whole body springs back. So ironically, he does go into the takedown thing, but like more like he's launching himself onto you, like back first. Um,
Go limp. What do you mean?
yeah, and then give me a strength saving throw.
Okay. Hey. All right.
You're able to go limp successfully, and like in very much a pro wrestler thing, that looked way worse than it would have been because honestly, the crowd loves it, but any of your friends who are watching are a little concerned at the sheer like you bounced a couple times from that, but his advice was good advice, and you didn't really like take any direct damage from
No,
it.
that's not what I wanted. I'm sorry. Fuck off.
It's all right.
Happy Link,
Um,
motherfucker.
Purser knows he's fine because the dragon mark didn't give him any feedback that he's in danger.
exactly.
There
Tag
we go.
me in. Tag me in. Um, and then let's see here. Either you can go for uh performance, or I would say in this case medicine. Either one, baby.
For this case, performance or medicine?
Yes.
Um, ooh, definitely not performance. We'll go medicine.
All right, all right.
Yeah, it didn't really help much.
Okay, yeah, it's one of those. You immediately go back to Mima's like your head's ringing a little bit. You stand up. Ah, I got it. And Mima, her voice echoes in your head. Bemmy, uh, it's when you're lifting, you got to make sure to lift the right way. Then you do this, Bemmy, you can lift anything. Uh, and hearing Mima's voice in your head, you go over and try and do like the suplex. Um, And Mima's advice echoes through the many teachings she's given you, and it's when you really lift something heavy, you want to put the weight all into your lower back, Mimi. Take your legs completely out of the equation. uh, it kind of works in the sense that like you start to get them off the ground, but Mima, then you remember what happened. Like your head clears enough to remember the second part of Mima's lesson, which was her laughing her ass off when you came back having almost been thrashed to death by whatever horror she sent you out to test it on. Which makes you think that maybe that was one of Mima's big jokes because it doesn't work that well here either. But when you regain consciousness, you have as many drinks as you could want, and you're absolutely popular for the rest of the pageant. Um, People absolutely loved that performance and are willing to, like I said, buy you drinks. And I would say even your love interest there, well, so your possible love interest comes over and is quite happy to go to a nearby food stand with you.
Oh.
Please, anywhere else. I need to. I. I hurt. Yes, food is good. Food is.
Which is also covered for you. There's no need to spend any coin on anything. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
that was a good enough show.
I'm gonna hit Bemmy with some healing magic after the beatdown he just took.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not wounded. Just my pride.
Well, I gotta soothe those muscles. Like that was bad.
Are you sure that you are not wounded, friend Pemmy?
Trust
You
me.
bounced like a
Look,
ball.
everything's fine. Everything's fine. I just say the
Like
wrong word at the end of every cranberry.
just Bemmy, it'll stop you from being sore in the morning or
He
in
stands
the
up. He tries to stand
evening.
upright, and his spine's at a 45-degree angle.
Bemi recalls one of Mima's like expert cures for anything, a donkey kicking.
Yeah. But once you've good God, once you successfully healed him for everything, every ailment he might have in the intermediary, um, you're it is Purser's turn, and Purser, I believe you picked knife throwing or something along the lines of archery.
Yes, in the
In
dark.
the dark, yeah.
Which there is no one else in this entire city, I think, who's as bad in the dark as I am.
I mean, they're slaves, but yeah. Um, so
Utgar's going to try to give him some last minute like dexterity based advice, so he stands a chance, or at
yeah,
least like it's probably more just so he doesn't hurt himself rather than actually giving him a chance.
I mean,
that's fair.
Purser's a decent shot. It's just the
Yeah.
downside.
Um, Fair enough. So in that
Sure,
case,
to stop the light.
yeah. Yeah, just once you feel you're sufficiently blinded, uh give me a
Like waving my hands around trying to find like the target line.
yeah, which does get you some whoops and some cheers even from the get-go. And more than that, Purser can't see it, but seeing that this isn't like this really doesn't seem to be some kind of act because he almost picks up a knife the wrong way. The people who the people who were near the who were like kind of hanging out near the targets do move the fuck away from it. Like, oh, this isn't. Oh, gee, he really is blind. Okay, all right.
Oh, this
Yep.
isn't an act. Okay.
That baby just picked up a shotgun.
Cue the video of the Congolese soldiers laughing their ass off at the chimp who picks up a rifle and then it starts going off. Um, but yeah, so you pick up the knives and we'll start off with you know what? We'll do sleight of hand. We'll start off with a sleight of hand for it. Give me a sleight of hand at disadvantage.
4.
Okay. Uh, there's a loud ping sound as you throw it, which is not what a wooden target should have sounded like.
I like
Uh,
start looking around as if I could somehow see
I
in the
will
wrong direction.
I will say what happened to all of them once the lights come back on. So the next one is a dexterity saving throw at disadvantage as you throw the next one.
18.
Oh, hey.
Okay, all right. Yeah, the you fling one and there's like a ping sound, another ping sound, another ping sound, and then a very satisfying thunk as there's like the roars of laughter pause for a minute and then there's a couple cheers. Um and then go ahead and give me, let's see. You know what? Yeah, this give me a performance check for the final one. At disadvantage because blind.
5.
Okay. Yeah. You try
I,
and kind of
I
mimic it,
I turn
and
around and do it backwards and like
yeah,
really like ham it up.
yeah, and there's a few laughs and then like a few yells of alarm as you hear a clattering sound. um, and you, I just saw the fucking meme. God damn it, Scott. Um, but yeah,
Throw me the spear.
so the lights come back on, Purser, and you see your first throw pretty much bounced, then like managed to dig itself badly into one of the ornamental trees, like eerily close to bouncing back towards you. The second one is almost bullseye. Um, but the crowd who are coming in, who did seem to very much appreciate that, are happy to point out like the little notches, it ricocheted 3 times and then just dug itself into the bullseye. And the last one, you see like still quivering slightly in the it managed to come down like nearby in the drum performing area because it just like most of the energy was up in the air. And it nearly like got one of the performers. But yeah, it
No
seems
one
it,
was hurt.
no one was hurt. Yeah, no one
Okay.
was hurt. It and after the alarm dies down, everybody seems to find it good humor, and yeah, you're it's not for the rest of the night, but anybody who witnessed that is willing to buy you drinks, food, and try and talk with you until it becomes apparent you can't talk back. But yeah,
I
you're
mean, I've picked up a little bit by now. I probably sound like a
yeah, yeah,
child.
yeah, fair enough. Which once again, the whole Outlander thing, you guys can get away with a lot because they would
Right.
expect you to have the nuances here.
So
But
my
A good-
ideas were actually between the blind knife throwing and elvish poetry.
now
Oh, that would have
that
been.
would be a show, I will say. That would be one of those things where it's really funny, but any sticklers might actually be mildly offended at like how much of this is show and how much of this is just he doesn't respect our traditions. I think the knife throwing is probably a good
Yeah,
choice
that's exactly what I was thinking.
than a language you can't speak. Yeah. But in that case, we will go to Ludger next, following the names. Ludger, exactly what did you pick again? Let's pretend I forgot.
Uh, poetry first, and if there's time, rock crushing.
Okay, we'll do one at a time initially here, so we'll do poetry. Um, so poetry, you go up and it is a Clan Apami seasoned performer who will be it's not a poetry slam, but that person will be basically giving you you can either try and the poetry thing can be either you recite one of their classics or you can try and like something you create. So either on the fly you create a poetry piece and recite it, or you can try and from memory recite one of their classics.
I will try to create my own poetry. Especially if uh, you know, that's going to be better than the alternative, and even better if it's something I can write because I know calligraphy.
Okay. They have
I'm
no
not
issues if you write it down, but you do have to read it aloud. They're very big on like the classic education stuff. Oration is huge. That's the foundation of like most education here.
that fair enough.
Okay. So the first check is performance.
Okay, I get a +1. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, you know
Okay.
what? I don't care. I still have an inspo. I'm using it to get a 15.
Okay. Yeah. I don't care if that's not the spirit of this thing. I can't have it be this go this way.
I can't afford to lose.
I don't
I
even care about losing. I just, you know, I'll get my ass beat, in the fucking rock. I'll take a sledgehammer to the face before I like, as to be like effectively almost official translator of this party, and get my ass beat that bad.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Yeah, so you're able to like your first draft that you jot down, you look at it, oh my God, this doesn't translate at all. I was writing this in fucking common. Like you tear that off, stuff it in pocket, immediately rewrite so that it's in proper like Elvish from the get-go. Flows a lot better. Um and you're pretty confident that the piece you will be reading is pretty solid. Now I need a intelligence saving throw as you you know what? You know what? Either yeah, no, this isn't int. I would say or no, if you're reading it, I would say int. Yeah, we'll say int saving throw. Sorry for the indecision. I had to consider there. Okay. Um, your performance, it's not so much stage fright. It's a matter of, I don't know, how would you have it be so that this it doesn't quite the actual rendition here, at least for the first half of it, doesn't come off in a great fashion.
Um, hmm.
You know what? Actually, now that I think on it, here's how we'll explain it. A big part of it is your like, and it's not a bad thing here, but the expectation is that like you, even if you need to write it down initially to compose it, you stand up, recite it from
Oh,
memory.
yeah,
This
I
this
know.
is you
Uh,
need to like look at the notes or
uh,
something. Does
yeah,
that sound okay?
I got it. Like I am so used to like being a translator, where it's basically like kind of mumbling in a dude's ear, that like for the first half of it, I'm like not even audible. I'm just like, you know, pretty much
Ah,
was
okay.
imagining.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a couple pauses, and then like they don't do the cat call because the point of this isn't like to actively shame anybody, but there are some yells of like what, yeah, um, and then we will say for the next one, you know what? This feels like a good chance to. You could pull out of it with a perception check, where it's like, all right, I need to figure out who here, like, how can I pitch my voice right? And yeah, you get with another 15, you're able to pull it out at the last minute, and you like, right, I don't need to be using my indoor voice in Purser's ear. I can just like I need to orate. So yeah, you're able to kind of properly project, and you put on you're able the second half of it they hear, and you're able to put on a decent performance. There's smattering of polite applause, and yeah, it's decent enough. You get one or two drinks bought for you, but by and large, it's this isn't the crowd pleaser that the other stuff was. But it's poetry, so it's always going to be a different thing regardless. And honestly, you did pretty good, which is like that's not a bad thing, but they're like, we weren't sure, but he seems like he knows what he's doing. Yeah, yeah. um,
The next one I can eat shit on, and I'll be fine.
fair enough. And now for Balthazar, um, I believe you picked cooking, right?
Yep.
All right. So we will start with cooking. Uh, you know what? I know you don't have chef's tools as a proficiency.
Nope.
Do just give me uh, a wisdom check. All right. Okay. So your first, like basically, the way this works is they give you a recipe to go off of, or it can be, you can make a dish of your own. Um, but depending, like, which do you choose? Are you going to try and make your own thing, or are you going to follow the recipe they give you?
I'll try to make my own thing, but
Okay, all right. So we'll say in that case, your 19 is you being able to successfully, all right, this was an old family recipe, or you know what, it could even be something they had you make at the monastery. It's kind of a mindless task. You got pretty good at memorizing it. It's like, all
I
right,
I I like to think that Tons of Fun was actually really good at cooking. Just was reading shit in his head. No, you're forgetting the garlic, you idiot.
no, Lord Tons of Fun was really good at eating. He wasn't that great at cooking. That was something he had people do for him. He does have some surprising skills, but that is the culinary arts are, while he appreciated them, are not strong in him. Um, but yeah, you're able to like, all right, you got all the ingredients laid out in front of you very very nicely. It's exactly what you need for this dish. Um, now, go ahead and give me a, yeah, you know what? Give me a survival check. Or no, actually, this is supposed to be a save. Give me a intelligence saving throw, to like properly.
18.
Yeah, you're killing it. Yeah, you're able to like absolutely remember all the proper steps, dice it up, put it together, put it in the pot, get it simmering at just the right time. Um, get what goes with it, start that toasting at exactly the right time, and now comes a survival check, and we'll see exactly how it's how you lay like presentation and ladling it out.
God
Month.
damn.
I
Yeah,
win.
you've by the end of it, you have an absolutely masterful set of um dishes in front of you, and like the crowd isn't the crowd's like there's a lot of like is he like the designated is he like their designated chef or something? Like is he like
No.
the kitchen servant who goes with him? But a lot of the murmuring dies down if you're willing to hand out some of the food that you prepped to various to the crowd. That goes a long way in like, well, he did really well in it. But on the other hand, this is actually pretty good. So it's a
I have
popular
no
thing,
skill in
and
cooking.
yeah, well, regardless, you aced it. And actually, the dish is popular enough that couple lords have their house servants, or more likely just slaves, come over and try and get the recipe from
I would say it's a Syrian delicacy.
you. Okay. Do you have any particular inclinations as to what you would like it to be?
To be fair, not really. I forgot if Syrians are just the Syrians are just stock fantasy kingdom. So
It's heavily inspired by Spanish stuff. At least in my head canon was like that's. Uh,
trying to think I'm trying to think of like Spanish delicacies. I can't think of any.
yeah, same here. I have
So,
to look it up. Yeah.
according to Keith, Sirens particularly like multi-course meals with lots of small dishes. So
Okay.
like you got like 3 different soups and 4
I'd
different like
say I'd
cuts of
say
meat
I'd
and
say like a seared like a roast beef almost and like a soup. I
Okay.
can only think of Italian soup. So
Yeah.
let's say
No, yeah, yeah. Like I'm trying to look at stuff. But
I'd
yeah,
say
either.
a I forgot what it's called, what the actual name is, but Italian wedding soup. I forgot its proper name.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
With like the
Uh,
small like the little like meatballs and like the small rice stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, so it's part of why this works so well is that you know exactly the right order to lay it out in. And like honestly, the fact that all of them together is what makes this a great thing is because it's, the sum it's greater than the sum of its parts. But yeah, it's popular enough, like I said, you do get requests for the recipe. And let's see here. What's I know Bemmy, I'm not even gonna fucking ask, but what's everybody else's passive perception?
14.
14.
11.
What?
14.
So
14.
14. Balthazar?
Oh, sorry, what?
What's your passive? Passive perception?
17.
17. Okay. So Bemmy and Balthazar, you guys spot while the pageant is going, uh, like once you're done with your performances, so to speak, you spot a familiar face, further, uh, discreetly talking with a cloaked figure in the shadows. Um, the artist formerly known as Toes Kafang Lemquick hands a scroll to this figure before breaking contact and rejoining the festivities.
$17. So
Yes, you and Bemmy noticed this. It's just some guy doing something, handing a scroll over. But
No. You want to follow one? I'll follow the t'other. Both
okay.
are?
well, all right. That's I think an affirmative. Uh,
Yeah, I don't mind.
okay. So we'll have you guys split up and follow them next time in this game because we
Yeah.
are at about that time. I hope everybody had fun here. I'm gonna turn off recording.